Yeah, I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. I'm never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast, and that's facts. Only I can make a change. Slowly take a step today. I will never be the same, cause that's what it takes.
Ladies and gentlemen, happy Monday, June 3rd. Welcome back for part 4 of the Roaring Kitty. I almost said the deep effing, the DFV Roaring Kitty. Part 4 of probably what will be a 10-part series as we go through month by month, as his thesis on GameStop originated as a value play, and we're watching it month by month. On this live stream tonight, we're going to be looking at October, and it is at the point now, I think, around 1185, and the short interest is up to 145%, whereas previously a month ago it had been around 100%. So really curious to see what he has to say in this live stream. Let's welcome the guest we have here tonight, and then we're going to look at the YOLO updates from June 3rd, 2024 while we're here. But Mediocre, Corex, how y'all doing?
Doing pretty good. I got smarter this time. Instead of going whiskey, I went and got some beer.
All right. Mediocre, you got to drink, because every time Keith says cheers, you've got to take a sip.
Let me grab my beer. Hold on.
All right. I've got a Guinness tonight. Correct.
Very nice. Can't go wrong with Guinness.
It's been a while. My worst Guinness night was when I was in Ireland over at one of our factories over there. Mm-hmm. And, they always want to take you out when you're traveling. And they said, let's do the gallon of Guinness challenge. I was like, what is that? It's like 8 damn pints of Guinness in a night. And I did not make it to work the next day. Let's just say that.
Are you gentlemen drinking from a glass or from the bottle?
I have a pint glass.
I got a nice mug here going on, frosted while it was.
All right, let me get my beer glass then.
Anya, good evening. Martin, what's up? Christopher, howdy. Mr. Ehos, what's going on? Sparky, what's up, amigo? How high will AI go? I don't know. I haven't. Is that a ticker? AI? We're watching GameStop this week.
Boy,
well, I think Corex might be looking at one other ticker. Did you say you were?
Oh yeah. I was looking at TACT, and apparently that ruffled some feathers. Apparently we aren't allowed to talk about anything but GameStop.
No,
my precious.
Okay, Corex. I know there's 4,000 other tickers, but this week it's GME and GME only, or we can't be friends. All right. Yeah. No, I'm just teasing, guys. I bought some other stocks today besides GameStop, and I'll have some upcoming videos on that later this week if we have time. If this craziness in the meme stock land slows down a little bit. But I mean, all of us on this live stream tonight are traders. And so we're going to talk about other stocks too. But tonight, the focus is on helping you guys understand what value investing is. And Keith Gill is a value investor, much like myself. If you guys have been following my channel for a while, or you're a member of my Discord, you're going to notice that a lot of the stuff he talked about is the same stuff I talk about. And I thought it'd be interesting to go back through his progression from his very first look at GameStop all the way to the point where it started squeezing up to the moon, and see how his emotional level or his financial analysis, if any, changed, especially when we compare to what he's doing right now. Look at this. Look at this. Let me zoom in here.
Like even with the pump today up to like it opened a little lower than where it was the high of the pre-market, but still I saw that first opening candle close, like that first 15-minute candle that went straight drilling for oil. And I figured, oh, well, Keith's closing.
That's what I thought too. 20 million in volume right out the bat. And I was like, well, I guess he dumped. And that would have been, I mean, Mediocre and I were talking about this last night and since early doors this morning in Discord chat, that, probably would have been what we would have done.
Mm-hmm.
And then he posts this update today and he didn't sell a damn thing. I was like, holy shit, this is going to be a fun week.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you what I said after we discussed that, Tony. I can say that live.
Well, I was watching it live and doing a live stream of the first like hour of the market right before I went to work, and we'll see what sort of macro impact has on this whole meme stock thing right now, because TLT had this huge rally and it just killed everything dead. A huge risk off, and not even GME and AMC could recover from it.
What had a rally? TLT?
TLT, it's the 20-year Treasury ETF.
Oh, okay.
As bond yields dropped like a freaking stone.
Well, you know me, I don't watch Treasury, so you'll have to thank you for filling us in on that. Keith Gill didn't sell a damn thing today. Surprised the heck out of me. I'm glad he gave us an update. The GME fanatics, I'm more of a trader. The fanatics are going to say, of course he didn't sell. He's going to hold all the way till June 21st and then exercise those call options. And maybe he will, if he, maybe he's got a bankroll in his back pocket for $240 million. But I don't know. It's just going to be fascinating. And I'm along for the ride. So I'm
interested.
I didn't live stream this morning because, I don't have a Robinhood account. And so I didn't buy in at the 24 to 27 before they shut it off yesterday. And then when I woke up, it was already at 40. I was like, nope. And so when it pulled back in the middle of the day and came back down to a more reasonable value, I snagged some just for fun, and we'll see what happens. But as a trader, I will be managing my risk. And if it starts going against me, I will exit the play because I can always buy back in. But I'm holding overnight, and we'll see what happens tomorrow. How about you? How about you guys?
Fun watching it right now. I was trying to get early, but Fidelity came in, like its pre-market comes in so late that I was seeing it slip, and I just couldn't find a comfortable position that made me want to go long. And sure enough, I was right on the open. It just nosedived, and I was like, yep, that was a great decision.
I couldn't find any.
But at the same time, it's still got enough support. It wasn't complete capitulation. It's not at the point where I'm like, I want to be on the other end shorting it either. It's still kind of in that space where I'm just like, I'm happy watching this. This is fun. This is fun. I have no money on the line.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think it's good that you didn't, because if Keith is still in, then he could, he could have some more fun tactics planned for tomorrow, for all we know, or maybe even later tonight. And you probably don't want to be short against that.
Yeah.
So I was looking at it, and I was looking at the options chain, and Tony knows I like to sell puts to get in, and I tried last week, I didn't get in, and so it was just too high for me, and the premiums where I want to get in were just not great, so I just watched.
I mean, for both sides, it probably needs time to cool off, because I have no doubt, like, especially with Keith still in it, that tomorrow, if I don't know, I didn't check on Fidelity because I didn't have position. If GME wasn't hard to borrow today, then it probably will be tomorrow.
Mediocre, you said before we got started live, and I want to get to your question before we start playing Keith's video from October 2020. You said you had a question for us about Roaring Kitty's involvement this week.
I do, because I hear people out there saying that what's going on with GameStop has nothing to do with Roaring Kitty. But it's funny though, because it seems to me that when Roaring Kitty first puts out his tweets, it happens on a Sunday night
Yeah.
after, right around 8 o'clock or whatever, when the market opens up for Robinhood, and and what do you know, the price moves. Is that a coincidence, or that he tweets and then that happens? I mean,
Yeah.
we hear it's because of the options chain, right? But it has nothing to do with Rory Kitty, apparently, from what I'm
I've
hearing.
heard multiple different scenarios. It's the options
Well, there's
chain. Hang on, I got 3 scenarios that I've heard. It's the options chain. It's a algo that was pre-programmed 3 years ago, and Keith Gill is just the cover up for it. And the other one I've heard is obviously Wall Street finally realized the true fundamental value of GameStop. So, I mean, you got 3 choices. I mean, I don't know. Correct. So you have a 4th one, maybe?
Well, I think it's a little bit of a column A and a little column B. It was definitely initiated by Keith Gill both times.
Yes.
But I think that options flow
Exactly.
afterwards came in direct response to it. But I would also say that options isn't the end all be all. We saw last week AMC struggled to try and keep above $5 every single time, and they pumped those weekly options. The open interest was insane on AMC, and it still closed below $5 on Friday. So you got to have a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B, I feel.
I think the options chain being loaded up definitely helps. And then guys, on my channel, I don't talk about crazy catalysts or price targets. But for 3 years, if I ever talked about a catalyst, it was what? The unknown catalyst, the catalyst that the hedge funds didn't see coming. And for me, this, Keith Gill coming up out of the blue after 3 years definitely qualifies as something that nobody could have predicted. And so when you get retail excitement and momentum and FOMO coming in, and then you get high-speed trading on top of that, and the options chain loaded, it becomes this avalanche up in price. So I think it was a combination for sure. Keith Gill, absolutely. We have 2 data points now. There's zero doubt this had to do with excitement over Keith Gill, but
Exactly.
the option chain being loaded up helped, and then day traders and high-speed traders pumped it up a little bit too. But we also saw today like a lot of pushback from the shorts right at market open or profit taking. I was surprised. I was surprised. I thought it might repeat, going to 50, 60, 80 bucks by tomorrow morning. We'll see. What
I thought it was interesting that AMC really kind of took a nosedive and didn't really hold any of the gains.
Maybe it had something to do with what Corex was talking about, the treasuries. There was also that NYSE glitch this morning.
Yeah.
The Berkshire Hathaway thing. I don't know about you guys, but I put in a couple of limit buy orders.
Yeah,
I put in one at 190 and one at 195. I didn't get a fill, but my order sat out there. And then, an hour later, the price, of course, jumped back up to 600,000. And eventually they canceled my order. However, this is a true story. At least 2 people have reached out to me that did not place a limit order. And they were assigned a fill at the market when trading resumed. You hear what I'm saying?
That was a bit rough, I bet.
1.2, they got assigned $1.2 million in buy orders. One guy was like, I wired $185 to my checking account, and all of a sudden I'm down, negative 635,000.
Yikes.
I got a margin call. I was like, wow, that's a pretty big margin call there, buddy. But I gave them some advice, and I think the of how to work with the broker to get that worked out. The brokers there's a FINRA rule called know your customer. And if you have nothing in your account and you don't typically hold $1 million in cash in there, and they assign you a buy on a $635,000 stock,
probably not you.
right? You probably can talk your way out of that. I'm just saying. Bryce says, did you hear E-Trade is investigating Roaring Kitty? I think, I saw the article that E-Trade and Morgan Stanley are.
I don't think they're actually going to kill his account. I think it's more they just want to cover their bases so that the SEC shows it's like, look, we did our due diligence on this. Like,
he's clearly, he's not manipulating the market. He tweeted a picture of an Uno card and his portfolio. So, I mean,
I think there would be a better argument if he had sold today, but he didn't. So it's just kind of like, well, what can we really say? He pumped and dumped, but didn't dump. Like
that exactly. That's what. Well, anyways, it is funny, because I get accused of that a lot too. Correct. So you talk about AMC a lot, yeah. And I also held the entire time, you dickheads. or he's obviously pump and dumping. What do you mean? Obviously. I held right along with you guys till we knew that the dilution was coming. All right. So yeah, I think it's good that he posted his position, when you got $5 million in there or 5 million shares and we see that he's still holding.
I really think that E-Trade thing is why he showed it the second time. It's like, guys, how can I manipulate it if I'm still holding?
Yep.
I'm glad he showed it.
It wasn't for a pump and dump. And I honestly thought that, maybe after 3 years, he's like, I need to get some money in the old bank account. So let me just take advantage of these kids. But he didn't, much to his credit.
We'll see what happens as we go along.
And I checked that first thing this morning when the price was up, man, and he was killing it.
And keep in mind, guys, keep in mind, if you're monitoring the open interest on his June 21st $20 calls, you're not going to see the open interest change except once in the morning. But if you have the ability to look at the volume on your options table or open up a chart for that option, you can see the volume. So I was watching the volume and I was telling Mediocre about halfway through the day today, I was like, he's not fucking selling. The volume was not even 6,000 and then 8,000 later. I was like, this dude is not fucking selling these call options. I can't
told
believe
Tony,
it.
I said, no fucking way he's not selling. I said, he got to sell, dude. That's big money. Oh, God.
He's got 120,000 of those call options, and the volume, the last time I checked it, was 8,000. So, no, he didn't sell them. And I had a lot of people message me today, Tony, he's gonna carry them all the way through and then exercise them. That'd be awesome. That'd be awesome if he does. Benjamin, good evening. All right,
in order to do that, it's got to trade above $22 or whatever is.
Big question about that exercise, though, is where's he going to get the money to do that exercise?
Well, maybe GameStop just runs up to 400 like last time, Corex, and then he sells his shares and then exercises his calls.
That would be a very convoluted thing to do that would work out for him, but I don't know how it would work out for everyone else.
I'm sure it would make everybody happy. Put it that way. All right, GME, I want to get this window here. Okay, GME shorts rise to 145% of the float, while the stock rises 30% in October. And I don't know if you guys can see this. Let me see if I can zoom in to the comments here. I just want you to see, because everybody gets trolled, and even Roaring Kitty got trolled. Let's see if I can find the comment. Now I can't see it.
Lol.
Oh, this one right here. Simon Chaw. He says, Roaring Kitty in shambles? A week prior to this video was late October. The stock right now, today in this video, October 28th, is trading at $11.85. A few days prior, it was over $14. So, it was a pretty healthy pullback. And old Simon is trolling Roaring Kitty. Roaring Kitty in shambles? I'm just like, Who had the last laugh now, bitches?
There's two constants on YouTube: porn ads and trolling.
Yeah. So, guys, I'm just saying, if you're on Twitter or YouTube and you're dealing with shorts trolling you, just know that even from day one, Roaring Kitty had to deal with it too.
Tony, we got to
That's
hurry up.
enough.
I'm going to have another beer.
All right. Let's see if we can get a cheers here. You said you're about to pass out?
No.
Me? No.
What'd you say?
I said we're going to have to hurry up or I'm going to have to go get another beer.
All right.
Cheers.
I need to put the audio on. Wait, let me make sure I have my audio set the right way. Sound.
Nice Halloween bandana.
Lucca's World, no, he doesn't have to hold until the 21st. He can
He can sell
Sell
the
them
options at
right
any time
now.
or exercise early, but he wouldn't do that because that would get rid of his extrinsic value.
I got you, Mediocre. You're saying your beer's going to get hot?
Oh, just that I need another one.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Keith
drinking this one pretty good.
usually says like cheers, cheers, cheers. So you're going to
Yeah.
get to drink fast. Corax found out the hard way last night.
With whiskey. Like he's over there with a beer, and I'm going like, oh fuck.
I don't want it on 2x. Sorry. Let's do
Yeah,
playback
like,
speed.
I think we did 1.2.
1.2. Yeah.
So number one is just a reminder for folks, right? This stream, educational in nature, right? That's the idea. And I keep on telling people this, that my style of investing, I tend to have a different time frame from some folks. This is why I'm curious to see people's take on the stream today. Like, how are people interpreting this price action, right? This is why I tossed out that chart list that I shared today on Twitter, because for my style of analysis, again, I have a more aggressive style. It may not be suitable for anyone on this stream, right? I always say that. But for my style, like when I look at this price action, I'm like, okay, yeah. I've been saying this over and over again from this charts perspective, huh? I do get these charts up, but just quickly, when I back out to like this 5-year time horizon, right? I'm like in this $11 to $16 range, right? Like I say, the stream doesn't matter. Not the stream doesn't matter. The content of the stream is going to be roughly the same in this box because that's my investment style. That said, I know other people might be interpreting these moves differently. That's why I'm super curious to see what people say today. Because for my style, it's like, all right, yeah, we're still in that 11 to 16, like 11, 16, 11, 17, this box. Like that's my time horizon, right?
I have it
Other people
sped
might
up,
have different
Yuka.
time horizons, so they may interpret these short-term moves differently than me, right? This isn't about a right or wrong. This just might be a different style of analysis, different investment style, and so forth, right? That's why it's very important. If you haven't seen those investment styles on the YouTube channel that I uploaded, you got to check them out for some context here, right? And as far as, we're talking about technical stuff, right? Which is marginal analysis. Technical analysis for my style of investing is marginal, right? We've had no new news, new news from GameStop. Nothing has changed from the fundamentals perspective, right? And as most folks now know, I mean, my thesis is grounded in the fundamentals. Check out all the GameStop videos that I uploaded, right? And so we've had no news from GameStop. We had some news, obviously, from...
What was that, Corex?
I was just saying that it like, even though today was bad for him, it's up out of that valley it was in.
I mean, when he was 3 months prior in July, he was doing fundamental analysis. It was in the $4. Now it's at 11. It was at 14 a few days prior.
Yeah.
And he's just like, how can I be mad? We're up, we're up a couple 100% and nothing's even changed yet.
Sony and Microsoft, in my interpretation of that was, Sony was really talking up the demand for this stuff, which a lot of us kind of expected, right? This is a huge, huge console cycle that we expected there to be tremendous demand. Most people are saying that, right? And that was the new news from a fundamental perspective, but it was kind of validating what most of us already thought, so it wasn't like groundbreaker or anything like that, but it was still good to see Sony kind of validate some of our opinions there. And I know... so that seems like it's on track, right? But no news from GameStop, nothing new on that front. So this is why, for my style, right, I find it super beneficial to be a fundamental investor, because like on days like on weeks like this, the thesis isn't really generally it isn't impacted. I mean, for my personal thesis, it's not even impacted, right? Because now, like I said, when the facts change, you can change your mind, right? For me, I'm watching that $11 range, like that low $11 range, right? Whatever that. Oh no, I should do that. Oh, I did do that. I got it up right here. I got it up right here. Can I zoom in a bit? So here's my point, is for my investment style here, let me go to the weekly. Nothing really changes in my analysis, you know what I mean? If anything, and now obviously educational, right? There's no recommendations for adding to a position or trimming. We're not going to get into that type of stuff, but generally speaking, forget about GameStop, but when you have these types of pullbacks when you're in a position, these are the opportunities to potentially add. I'm not saying you should do that, right? It may be, you shouldn't even be invested in a stock like GameStop. These super risky stocks, they sometimes, or even many times, are not good fit for individual investors. So that's one thing to always bear in mind. But if you were dealing in a stock, right, I'm trying to get to the educational aspect, that these are the times where you might be like on those pullbacks, you're waiting for those times. And that's why I always talk about, for me, like when a stock breaks out, like it's tough for me as a value investor to like add on the breakout, because like psychologically I like need that pullback. And so like and what happens is with the market,
does that sound familiar, Mediocre? It sounds like a conversation we have about every stock every day. Tough to add on a breakout because we need to be adding on a pullback.
Yep.
It's not that uncommon to see it in the market where just stocks collectively go down, right? Obviously, this is the backdrop here, is that we're in this box, right? But the whole market has got. Oh, what did the market go down today? Did it bounce back? No, it ended weak, didn't it? I think it ended weak. Okay, yeah. So this is a. Oh, I can't even pull this up. Oh, look at this! Like that's a bad week on the market, right? And so these happen. These happen on the market. Like this is typical for the market. And it's almost like for many stocks, not all stocks, but generally like value type stocks, right? Especially those risky ones, they get beat up on weeks like this, right?
Normally so.
They always need to be prepared for these types of things that happen.
Yeah.
So especially with GameStop, right? Like
how often do we check the economic calendar?
Every week.
Exactly.
Every weekend we see what's coming up next.
And even more so that like he's talking about, these stocks, these value stocks get up even more so in the stocks that like Keith Gill usually likes going after the as the name implies, deep fucking value, that he likes to go after these stocks that are really like there's something there, but it's one of those, it's that like thin line in value investing. There's something there if your thesis pays out, but it's one of those companies that there's a reason why it's beat up significantly. And so when you have that kind of factor and that kind of sentiment, like we talked about in the last video, if the market dumps, you're going to get double dumped.
That's what I always try and handhold people and tell them, like, don't feel bad that, XYZ stock that's a speculative play is down 12% today because the market's down 3%. I mean, it's not a profitable company, whatever the ticker is that we're talking about that we're speculating in. The risky stocks are going to typically get beat up worse on a down day. Right? I'm just restating what you said, correct?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the fundamentals are unchanged by this price action, and for my style of marginal technical analysis, it's not even out of the box. So that's why I'm curious to see people's takes, because if people are like, oh, this pullback's so much, it's like these volatile high risk stocks do this. They go down, they go up, and like I said, all else equal, you like to see it incrementally creeping up. That way, if you do have a down or even a pop off it, then you're at that new level, right? That's what I mean. It's marginal analysis for my style. That's why it's that fundamental side of things from which you can get conviction in a position, right? And again, this is aside from this is all these types of positions. That's why I always say it seems tough for me to not be a fundamental investor. I understand people can do it, and maybe they're successful at it. I don't know, but for someone like me, it seems like I can understand why people will be like, oh, this stock is going all over the place. And I'm just like, well, because I've done this analysis. You know what I mean? It's like it's barely changed, right? And we did go down. Oh, I did see. I posted this. Look at this. It went right down at the. Oh, I can't really see it. Can you? It went right down there, right near the end of the day. That's because I did see that. That's why. And then I looked at the market. I saw it sold down. So it's right there, right? Now, if it goes down below, I'm not. Technical analysis, marginal stuff. If it drops down below there, we reassess. This is these really short-term charts, right? I call myself a longer-term value investor. I got an intraday chart up here, but I'm trying to get that like short-term momentum type stuff just to gauge it. That's not my. It's like I say, marginal analysis. I'm just taking a peek at it, see what happens. And then I went all the way down here. You'd see these boxes. If we start going below 11, then I'm like, all right, maybe things are settling down a bit here, and that like momentum and that really positive short-term sentiment. Like I say, usually I don't have strong opinions about like the short and intermediate term. I don't. I have my conviction is.
I agree with Jason. If I could steal his energy in all of my videos, given we have them a bit sped up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, correct. Just record your video and then upload it at 1.25 speed.
Or I could do that in post. I can just
That's what I'm
record the
saying.
video and then in post jack up the.
That's my higher conviction analysis, right? This shorter term stuff, like this isn't high conviction.
That way I
stuff.
can
This
also
is just,
sound like
hey,
a chipmunk too.
this is what I'm looking at. And if it breaks below 11, which it could, like in the near term, then I reassess. All right, maybe sentiment wasn't quite as short term bullish as I thought. But unless that fundamental thesis changed, like it's all good. You know what I mean? It's chill. And then I back out to the weekly too, and it's a very similar looking. You can see in these charts why I'm looking at that like $10 to $11 range. But really, until we get into that thing, like you're just sitting back and watching. You know what I mean? And then you're checking out Microsoft and the Sony stuff too, right? That's the stuff that came out. I got a couple things I'm gonna bring up here. Hold up. Oh, I pulled up the Sony stuff. Check this out.
Hey, he took a drink
This is
and didn't
sick.
say
Sony does
cheers,
video
so I'm
for
going to take a
Microsoft. They
drink.
broke out. And you
Okay.
can see the physical
Oh, good,
digital
I'm
breakdown.
thirsty.
I always like that. I included this in one of those early GameStop videos, right? Or the last one. And you can see it was interesting that
Refreshing.
So you can still see digital full game downloads still quite a bit up, right? But physical declined a little bit less than digital this quarter. And importantly, you can see this number right here. This is that full game software digital. It's at 60%, right? So this is the type of data I included in that latest GameStop video because this stuff's meaningful, right? This is
There are
Sony
people
saying,
that
"Hey, here's
do
what this breakdown
like,
is right
going
now."
into the different
And one thing
different console companies like Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo looking through their reports as to how many games they're selling on.
That's what
on a
you should be
basis.
doing if you're a GameStop investor. You should be following all these console makers and checking those numbers quarterly.
Kind of like we do with the movies, what's coming out in the box
Exactly.
office.
Yep. I mean, that's how you get your insight into what GameStop's earnings are likely to be. If these other, the console manufacturers are giving guidance or publishing numbers before GameStop's quarter.
Or even the big macro stuff. Like the reason why I came in like going, I know people were a lot more bullish about what they figured that GameStop is going to do Q4 and have on their year-end report. And I was like, I don't know. When holiday sales for Q4 only has a 0.7% real growth year over year, I don't know.
And that kind of lined up with, as before they pre-released their Q1 earnings a week or so ago, whenever that was, I was seeing a lot of retailers, reporting pretty bad numbers over the last 30, 40 days. So it didn't really surprise me, that GameStop had a weak Q1 coming up here. I know it's gaming, and
that's what worries me about the sector in general. But again, that's all stuff that if you're invested in a company, you need to be paying attention to not just the company, but what's all the other factors that can give you a hint as to where things are going.
Yep.
I forget if I mentioned in the GameStop video, I can't remember. But in the early weeks, in the early months of a new console cycle, folks tend to skew more physical, both the consoles and also the discs. That's where you tend to see more physical demand. That's why that was important for that downside protection from GameStop. And so you could see this drop. Look at it. It fell from 74% to 59%. I thought that was interesting. Obviously, we had quite a bit happening. You can understand why digital downloads were large this quarter with all of it with the pandemic and so forth. That's why I mentioned in that video, the GameStop video, I'm like, you should, as stores are opening back up, expect this to bounce back. Who knows? We're a little off here, but 74% for Sony was a bit high. You saw Nintendo was in closer to the 50% range. But so this stuff, I was taking a peek at this. I thought this was great. I like seeing this stuff, right? And what else did I pop up? I'll get to this. Let me do this one first. So this one I didn't see. So who was it that posted this? Was it Hugo? Oh no. Did I like it? Where is it? Oh, Smash. Thank you, Smash. Cheers. Smash had pointed this out. And then this
Cheers.
It was just talking about there's no real.
All right, that's three.
I'm just
three
gonna
drinks.
finish this. Now I need to get a new beer though. Damn. BRB. Keep going without me though.
There's no real info here. It was just, hey, heads up, GameStop kind of changing around their store, right? And this makes sense because, like, they've been focused on merchandising here and how to reorganize the store and that type of stuff. This is marginal type analysis too. It doesn't impact, like, this is stuff that I expect to be happening. You know what I mean? Even though I don't know exactly what they should be doing and all that stuff. And I'm like, all right, they're making those changes. I was keeping an eye. I saw that tweet come through when Smash had tossed me on there. Oh yeah, okay, they're doing some stuff, right? But not much else to take away. It makes sense. I'm like, yeah, you should be doing that. I didn't even know that they were still putting all those discs on the shelves. I don't think they do that at all GameStop. But I'm like, yeah, that makes sense because it just takes up space in the store and so forth. Obviously, with some of these
breaking out the
transforming some of the stores, you want a little bit extra space on them, right?
World Series
So I
champion
thought this was good.
All right.
This was CU had tweeted this out. And I thought this was interesting too. I don't have the full article; it's just a headline. But the gaming brands dominating sponsored influencer posts on YouTube and Instagram. This is what we're talking about. How GameStop has this this PowerUp Rewards database, and like there's this more targeted advertising campaigns from gaming companies. I don't know who the gaming brands are. It's besides the point. But GameStop, and this is what I mean. Like this is highlighted some points. Really, if you haven't seen this, go. It's on the GameStop website, but you can go look up Dimitri's recent comments and pull it up. But I boxed up. There's some really good stuff in here that it's largely a review. So I got oversold on this intraday, 15-minute intraday. I'm like, damn, at the time it was still holding up. It still never got down there because it was like a high or low. But then come the end of the day, it like kind of got back down into that range. So it's like right there. But I was noticing, I'm like, oh, it's oversold, and it was still kind of holding up okay. But and then lower volume, I was just pointing out the lower volume. But I'm still noticing the higher highs, lower volume. But it can change if. Like I say, technical analysis for me is marginal. For other folks, it's more meaningful for their styles.
Yeah, I'm typing a response.
Say, like, as the chart changes, you just change your mind. Like it's fine, and but not for the fundamental thesis. For me to change my fundamental thesis, obviously I need quite a bit more, right? Significantly more than damn chart. Just makes me reassess that like short-term sentiment psychology type stuff. But for the daily, this barely registers with me, right? You can see it's still in that box. It was still overbought. We're right at 50, that pullback. It's going to be interesting. I'm very curious to see what it does tomorrow, right? Oh, we were right at the 20-day.
Hey, Dana.
Right below it, so that's a bit meaningful, right? A little bit. In the context of this chart, I mean, right? Y'all know this now. And then the weekly, same box. It was overbought. Like the overbought nature is bullish, but then they pull back, and then you reassess and stuff. And then the monthly. So everything else looks the same, you know what I mean? And then the increased volume. Anyway, I just thought I'd share that, and this is the stuff I was peeking at. But again, as we all know on this stream, I'll be curious to see everyone's. Again, cheers everybody, huh? I'm glad to see so many.
Cheers everybody.
For an educational stream, these are the days that are important, right? And because you share your thoughts on how you're thinking about stuff, how maybe price action.
You're gonna learn really quick, mediocre. You're gonna have to pace yourself on this video.
It doesn't mean that's a suitable approach for you, right? But even still, that's the idea, is that you can at least see how a more aggressive style might interpret some of these moves. You know what I mean? But of course, never a recommendation or anything like that. But I still I always thought that it's super important to see that, and that's why I'm like trying to share my analysis here, right? And what we'll also do today, as I pulled up some of these things, we'll go through some of the broad market, not just the charts for GameStop, right? Because these always happen in context of something else, right? Like GameStop's a little bit unique in that we can look at how other gaming stocks are performing this week. We can also look at how like consumer discretionary broadly is performing,
Good night,
how the
Dana.
market is performing. And so in that context, you know what I mean? Like you don't just look at this chart by itself. How is the whole sector doing? How's the industry doing? How's the sector doing? How's gaming doing? How's the market doing?
Point
And when you see the
from
market tanking
that also
like
we
that,
talked
these
about
moves
in the last video that we
less
did
meaningful for someone
yesterday,
like me.
where not just looking at the sector, but also if you want to get even nittier and grittier, you can look at GameStop's a specialty retail outlet. What other specialty retailers are doing?
I'm curious which other companies he's going to look at here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm often doing comparisons in the specialty retail or gaming sector.
Mm-hmm.
And it's whatever my screening tool recommends. I'm curious to see which ones he's looking at in particular.
If this was happening and the market was going up, we'd be talking about this.
Dana, Daddy was talking to you on my chat.
Cody says he sold pre-market this morning for 5,100 profit gain. Cheers to you, Cody.
Yeah,
that's what we like to hear, my friend.
You play to win the game.
Not that we are, trying to. Everyone says, "Oh, Tony, your channel just wants everybody to sell." No, I want to see people take profits. I want to see people lock in some profits instead of whatever it goes up to. I don't want to see you ride it all the way back down and then just sit there for another 3 years. So if you're taking some profits along the way, hat tip to you.
Cody, when you get a chance
exact chart
to buy the dip and re-enter, do it at your own choice.
Yeah, what a beautiful opportunity to sell at 40, and then even if you love the company, buy back in the low 20s and still keep money in your pocket.
But the market was like up or flat, we'd be like,
I'd be like,
whoa, what's going on here? This is a little bit more meaningful than if the stock market was, you know what I mean? Like some of this stuff I know goes without saying, but it bears repeating on days like today. It just does. So that's why I want to mention. So I got some charts pulled up here. Yeah, look at that. Is this the weekly? Oh, that's the daily. Oh, that was today. So today was a big down day, huh? Open, gap down, big down. How about the weekly? Oh, look at that, huh? Even still, so it's still kind of in this box, right? It happens quick, so it takes people by surprise. It's like, whoa, what the hell? But I see this, I'm like, all right, yeah. And again, these days and these weeks happen in the market. this is how markets work. It's not that uncommon. What was it? Was it 2017 where it was a little bit uncommon? It was like just cranking high.
John says,
with
if
very
we
little
sell shares, don't we trade real shares for counterfeit ones? That, that's look, this is not the channel. I don't think any of us
No.
are here to talk about counterfeit
and
or
really, if
synthetic
you want to
shares.
get to that second order thinking on those conspiracy theories, how do you know that the shares that you had to begin with were not counterfeit?
Yeah, I mean, how do you know if you want to say that? And really, if there's counterfeit shares, why would the price have ever gone to 400, or why would it have gone to 80?
Yeah, they just make new fake shares, and then it doesn't do anything. Or
why would you ever
like,
have short interest over 1% if they could just keep printing shares at will?
all those conspiracy theories are about controlling sentiment and explaining things that they don't want real answers for, because that would ruin sentiment.
And the other thing that I just want you guys to think about, whatever the ticker, like GameStop and AMC in particular, when you have the votes in the annual shareholders meeting, you get maybe 30% of the authorized shares voting. If there were billions of shareholders, billions of shares in millions of shareholders' accounts, why is the vote not always 100%? Because even if only 10% of us voted, if there's 5 billion shares, then surely it'd be 100% vote.
Mm-hmm.
And you only see a fraction of the eligible shares ever voting. So then you got to create another conspiracy. Oh, well, they're manipulating the vote. Like, you see how you just go down this path where all of a sudden everything is a conspiracy? I just don't live my life that way. Yeah. I don't. And that's why a lot of people hate me, but I'm just being honest with you guys. That's how I don't look at it that way. And it's never affected any of my trading, and I can make profits. Where you can believe what you want, I can believe what I want. I'm just trading, I'm trying to buy low and sell high. That's all.
Volatility, that was more aberrant, you know what I mean? These bigger days and weeks, like not uncommon. So I just mean always be prepared for this type of stuff. It just mentally, right? Okay, let's get into it. I hope I'm not falling too far behind. What is it? Oh man, I talk way too long. Cheers, Henry. Welcome, Henry. Welcome.
Cheers.
Henry, what did PBF do today?
Cheers, he says.
Harry is talking about one of his other tickers. I think this will be interesting to see. I think this is also good because he wasn't just in GameStop for a very long time. He had a whole portfolio, like we've talked about, of different value stocks.
I do want to follow up, what I just said about synthetic shares. Obviously, we know that there's shorted shares create extra shares in the float. There's this thing called rehypothecation, which I don't know to what extent the float gets multiplied out there. All of these things are real. And then market makers can naked short to make a market. All of those things do affect the shares that are out there. I'm just saying it's not really something that I worry about in my trading. And it's never buy low, sell high. That's all I worry about.
So PBF, I believe, is what he's talking about. It's a petroleum refinery.
All right.
Company.
Oh, see? Okay. This is meaningful, right? There we go. This is why it's like you watching the chart, you're like, all right, this is kind of looking interesting. Maybe in the Roaring Kitty portfolio, okay, this kind of makes some sense. Maybe, again, not recommendations, right? For this more aggressive Roaring Kitty portfolio, I view these types of setups as like, all right, we were here, we're retesting that previous low. Let's see what happens from here. But then from my
Cody says, where do you think is another good dip target buy? I mean, that's hard to say on GameStop because again, it's
detached from its fundamental value.
Yeah, I'm analyzing it from what is the true fundamental value, and my thesis on that has only changed by a couple of dollars. So it's, in my mind, overvalued based on any way, and I challenge anybody to show me financial analysis, PE ratio analysis, discounted cash flow analysis, any normal financial analysis that you would do, and even add a few dollars to it for sentiment, you're not going to get anywhere close to $28. But that it's trading what people are willing to pay for it right now. because it's a momentum play, and I like momentum plays too. So we have our value analysis, and we have now we're in momentum. We're in short squeeze, and these are disconnected. So if you're asking me what is the rational thing to do, well, depends on which bucket you're in. What are you, a momentum trader? Then just watch the chart and look for an intraday dip. If you want the safest absolute buy-in, you might need to wait a few weeks or months. And even then, it depends on what Ryan Cohen does with the $2 billion. If he announces something that increases the profits at the company, then that changes the whole calculation. So,
and I would not to change the topic, but like I would point out that this company that he's talking about right now, PBF, it's currently, they're looking at it's in his portfolio. It's down around what, $6 there, I think,
or 427.
Yeah, it's 45.37 now.
Holy shit! Wow.
That's what energy was in COVID. All those energy stocks traded way down because we shut everything down.
Yeah.
And then once we reopened, they just went boom.
Yeah.
Tony, I want to bring something up before we get back to it real quick.
Absolutely. Yeah. What you got?
A couple of comments, Roadrunner, talking about wash sales. I think that people who don't understand wash sales should do more due diligence on it to get a good understanding of it. I don't want to talk about it now, but we've had in-depth conversations about it in the Discord.
Yeah.
And people, I think it's a misunderstood thing that people don't quite understand. I just wanted to bring that up.
Let's just, at a very high level, wash sale is if your basis on GameStop was at 100 and you sold today at 40, then you're going to have a loss of $60 a share. But then if you bought back in later in the day today at 24 or 25, that's a wash sale because you bought back within 30 days. And they're going to add that $60. If your basis was 100 and you sold at 40 and you bought back at 25, they're going to show that your basis is now $85. They're going to add that $60 onto your 25. It only really matters if you're trying to capture that loss for tax purposes.
Exactly. That's what I want to get at, and that's why I didn't want to go into great detail, Tony. But people should do their due diligence on it.
And
because
you can have just to also add a point that probably won't matter to most people, but you can also have wash sales if you're short selling too, where you buy in and the price goes up and you close, and then you come back in at a different price point, and so it can happen in the inverse trade as well.
If you look on your broker in that example I gave, and you rebought at 25, and it's showing on your screen that your basis is 85, it's not really 85. You bought at 25, and if it runs up to 40 again, you're going to profit $15 per share. But you wiped out your tax. You wiped out your ability to
claim it as a tax deduction.
Right, that tax loss.
The tax loss, but you're still not going to be taxed until you make back all your money. That's where people get misunderstood.
Really confused, yeah.
And right. I'm not a CPA, and either the two other gentlemen, but I'm
not a CPA.
Find one who can explain it to you how it affects your personal situation, or read up on it.
Exactly. And that's why I brought it up, is because I think it's an important topic that people should understand, instead of just thinking wash sales are always bad. It's not necessarily bad.
I run into them a lot on day trading. If I'm going in and out of a stock, depending if it's going the way I want, or if I'm getting out because it turned against me, and then I hop back in, I might have a wash sale. But I'm not worried about a couple dollars loss. I'm just trying not to lose my capital. So that's why I exit. And then if it turns around, I just jump right back in. So
Martin Shkreli on X with a hot take space. GameStop is a zero, you absolute morons. I'm gonna censor that.
So I just want to say, I create a lot of wash sales, guys, and I don't care. It
Yeah,
makes no
I don't-
difference.
I don't
I'm just trying to
typically
send
worry.
all the haters over to Martin Shkreli so we can have a live stream. That's what that's about.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of we are retail traders. We are just like you guys, even though mediocre and myself in particular are often looking for value plays. And I think Corex too, to a certain degree. I don't want to speak for him, but a lot of people think that we're short or we hate GameStop because we want a good entry. Doesn't
Not
mean
at all.
we're the same as you guys. We want to see GameStop succeed, but there are assholes out there who don't give a shit about any retail traders or how you feel. They just know, and they're right, that the company has really no profits and that it's overvalued. So they're going to be brutally honest, and and he might be short too. So of course he's going to say that. But
And we had this discussion like on the last stream yesterday where it's like, you know, you lean a little bullish, I lean a little bearish. That doesn't mean we hate the company. We want it to succeed. You know, there's a lot of jobs on the line for people. When I short a company, it's just I think it's overvalued for what the company is, and I think it's going to go down.
And
it may be that tomorrow that changes, and I'll be long it. Who knows?
And that, I mean, this is the same analysis I do for any stock, right? The whole point of knowing if it's when to sell into a run up is you got to first know what is the real fundamental value, because there's a lot of people out there telling you to hold stocks when they're running up, and they're running up 10, 20 times their fundamental value. You need to know what the fundamental value is, or you're going to get tricked into holding it instead of taking some profits. And it's always going to come back down to that fundamental value. So that's why you need to know that.
Short-term voting machine, long-term weighing machine.
It's going to come back eventually. It always does.
Yeah, it might be weeks or months. You know, a lot of people are, you know, ha-haing me today. Like, I'm not on your today timeline. I'm looking at where I'm thinking about when can I get a good entry in a couple weeks or a couple months, whenever this froth is over with. It'll come back down, but I will just say, depending on what GameStop does with the $2 billion that they have, that's the X factor, the potential energy they have that would make, I think, you know, anybody that is short should be a little bit worried about that.
Like I say, from my style, what I like to see is, I sometimes like to see it crash through, because we were talking about like the potential multi-baggers, right? What are some potential multi-baggers? But really, you want to get your ass kicked. Sometimes you need to get your ass kicked to get like to get those big upsides, right? So with an interesting company like PBF, I'm like, would this be interesting if it falls from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2? And because that's where you have that tremendous, like, it could be that the thesis remains unchanged. It could be liquidity risks have increased or credit risks have increased, right? That's why you always have to dig in. That's the fundamental aspect, right? But I see this and I think, whoa, that's bearish, right? On a short, is this the daily? This is the daily. So I back out to the
that
weekly,
chart
right?
looks horrible, man.
That's a little bit bearish. It's just one couple of days, maybe 1 week. If you see it down another week, right, then it's like, all right, this is really a downward move. But even still, this is a red flag. Thank you, Henry, for reminding me of that.
Horrible.
I mean, I was going to go through these names.
If you
I
bought
did see that it was
in
a whole
there,
bunch
you
of
would have been seriously
GameStop
rewarded.
didn't look like it
in
was
about
as
2
bad of a
years'
performer.
time.
This is what you want. You want a
14%.
good company that's out of favor for a reason.
Okay, let me keep going.
You want a good company that's out of favor for a reason.
Well, it's hard to compete against when the market's selling off like this. That's what I mean. If it's a value
There's a couple
stock,
that we're looking at already, Tony. We've been for a while,
I don't
right?
want to say it doesn't matter, but this is why it's the good thing with GameStop this time around, right? For those longs, the longs who have been in GameStop for so long, like these days are like not these days, even these weeks, we're kind of used to this a little bit. I almost want to say inured to the pain, and like
Hershey, that's
just the way it goes with some of these value stocks.
What's another one on you? Tell them.
Historically been so bearish, but But this time around with GameStop on these big down, like the last time we had huge.
And sometimes it's not even has to be out of favor. Like Warren Buffett's big strategy is not finding
in a bit of a while, maybe a couple weeks back. That 1 week is this the weekly?
Not finding
it's been a while
a fair company at a good price. It's finding good companies at fair prices. So you talk about like say something like an Apple, where you know you won't see a huge pull down on it because it's a really good company. But if it gives you a good entry point to get a really good company at a reasonable price, you can definitely make money doing that.
I usually I'm pre-identifying these companies, marking where I think the fair value entry is, and then waiting for them to have a stumble or waiting for the economy to have a stumble.
Yeah. Hawaii Electric.
Yep.
But what I'm getting at is that this time we're in an uptrend. we're in a bullish uptrend. All these other times, the backdrop was bearish. Now, some people look back longer term, they go, oh, this is still bearish.
I think
right? Some
Hawaii
people do that.
Electric will be a
And
lot
I
more
think many of us
interesting
would
once we have
counter
rate
with, oh, the
cuts,
story
because a
has
lot of these
changed significantly.
utilities struggle in a high interest rate environment because their dividend
Well,
yield is below the interest rate.
Hawaii Electric got smacked about 60, 70% Corex because of the
Of the whole
fires.
fires thing. Yeah.
So we're those of us that are playing it when we're in and out of it, it's kind of like a bankruptcy versus no bankruptcy play. You're either going to be a hero or a zero, depending on how that.
But here you've got plenty of downside protection. It's a good company. It's just gotten eaten up.
Since then, that's why it's important to look at.
Talked about that in the video yesterday too. You should watch it.
But so the backdrop now is much more bullish than it was historically, and you're a bit more of an uptrend, right? And so that can kind of support a stock. It doesn't mean it will, but it can much more so than it did in the past. That's why I was saying, like back in March and April, I was kind of looking for stocks that were in strong uptrends. And as it stands right now, GameStop has been in an uptrend these past couple of weeks and months. It may not. Maybe that breaks. Maybe it breaks below 11 and 10 and on no news or whatever. Everyone keeps talking about news, myself included. But what if you don't get it? You need to be prepared for it not getting it. It still seems like we would get some at some point, but you don't even know how the market reacts to it, right? Who knows how meaningful it's going to be? So
that's kind of how I view the $2 billion. Like, are we going to get news? When are we going to get it? What is the market even going to react favorably to it?
Mm-hmm. What other factors are playing into it?
Right. I mean, I want it to be bullish, and I know the hardcore GameStop people are assuming, well, absolutely, it's going to be bullish, whatever they do. But I always factor in a little bit of unknown, and then I assign my probabilities, and I tend to be optimistic, and I think these guys are smart running the company, so we'll see.
And if the stock breaks, then the technical analysts or the marginal buyers, they'll just sell off. They go, I was in this for the squeeze, or I was in this. That's why that stuff's marginal. It's sideshow stuff. And so they just sell off for the same reason they bought in. They bought
he just called the squeeze
characteristic.
He called the squeeze sideshow stuff.
To realize. So when that stuff, anyway, that's what I was just getting at. That it's
how things have changed.
This time around, you got that bullish backdrop. So I'm more kind of dialed into like how's it reacting. That's why I shared this one at first, because I'm like, this is holding up.
This is just amazing to me, hearing how he's talking
relative to how it was
then to how he's acting
every
now.
time get his ass kicked. Like, all right, and
if
then
that's
March,
truly
April,
him.
Like, look out, GameStop for a while was holding up okay, and then it just collapsed just like everything else, right? Anyways, my point is, it's hard enough to withstand a market sell-off, right? But it's a little bit more easier if you're in a stronger uptrend. But at the end of the day, GameStop's still a risky stock, so that's why
mediocre
GameStop is still a risky stock.
Mediocre John wants to know, what is the odds Roaring Kitty will be in the money by June 21st? He's in the money now.
Yeah, because he bought some pretty deep in the money calls at the 20 strike, right?
Yeah, his break even, I think, is around $25.
Yeah, I think he's at I think his calls are at 21 and change or something like that, but I'm not sure what his break even is. I'd have to.
I saw people posting that his break even was 25. I didn't go in and try and calculate it, so I'm just gonna, let's just say that's correct.
Yeah, I saw that one going around.
This is what I will tell you, okay? Even if the price stays where it's at, Theta's going to work on his position.
Yeah, he's going to lose millions per day if it just stays flat.
Exactly. So, he may end up with the shares, it may not drop to his break even, and he may still end up with money in his shares, whatever he decides to do with his position. But Theta is going to eat that position from now until then. And Theta ramps up within the last 30 days big time on any options contract.
We're already within that. When he bought those, we were within that.
So that Theta is working overtime right now. Tony, real quick, you got a diagram of the Theta to kind of show them quickly or no?
I can pull one up.
Yeah.
Because like you said, because it's exponential, the last 30 days is where it really gets hardcore. And that last week, it just is pounding away at your extrinsic value.
So, I mean, it depends what's going to happen with the stock price. If the stock price falls, it's going to hurt them even more, right? Because Theta is going to ramp up even more. Plus, you're going to get implied volatility towards the downside. But if it continues to go up, it's going to benefit him. Implied volatility is going to help him and increase his value. There you go. That's what I'm talking about right there.
So we're right here. We're in this last leg where the value of his options are going to erode very, very quickly.
Yeah, all the way to the right of the chart.
Yeah,
Where it's
right,
talking about
right.
time to kill.
This last arrow. So typically, there's two ways you can play options: buy them 3 or 4 months out and try and hope that something happens in your favor in the first 30 days before you get big time burn, time decay. But, some people play just lotto tickets, scratch offs, and they do, 0 days to expiration, 5 days to expiration. But you really got to be right in a big way because theta is going to kill you.
I would just briefly take Robert Landis' question there. Carvana's at $100 per share. Why can't GameStop? Well, you have to look at the float and look at the market cap. And then you also have to consider what's the overhead supply on GameStop. Once you get to these higher price points, you have people who are trapped at them and they're going to want to leave with at least some profit, because people tend to forget that all ape investors are retail, but not all retail are ape investors. If they see an opportunity to take profits, then you're going to have that overhead supply come crashing back down on you.
Yeah, I mean, Carvana, it looks like I don't have their latest earnings. They have a positive trailing 12 months PE ratio, a negative forward PE ratio.
That's a big help to that price.
And they have a free float of 107 million shares, which is less than GameStop. But Carvana, I mean, it doesn't have near the investor sentiment that GameStop does. And I don't know. I haven't analyzed Carvana to see what the fundamental value is based on their financials. So that's really what the question is. What is Carvana? Well, I can just pull it up here. Let's see what the analysts say that Carvana is worth. That's really, that'll tell us here real quick. And then we'll get back to the video. CVNA, $86, $86.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit overpriced right now. But based off of their earnings, the average analyst has it valued at $86. And, based off of GameStop's earnings, the analyst has it at $7. And that is basically derived off of forward 12 months earnings plus a little bit for investor sentiment. That doesn't mean that GameStop can't trade higher. Obviously, it's trading higher because people are willing to pay more right now. But if GameStop,
those are some of the headwinds.
If GameStop doesn't announce something at some point, then the price will be driven back down. And when is some point? I don't know. Could be days, weeks, months. Depends on how long people stay bullish on GameStop.
You kind of see at least some of this. It explains some of this price action, right? Okay. Okay. Again, welcome everybody. Who do I got? Okay, Henry. I got a Henry. Uber. Welcome, Uber. Steve.
Cheers.
Okay, just
that. I'll take it.
have it going back and forth. Oh yeah, Steve. I had to. Is that you? Yeah, I hadn't seen that. Cheers to that. I thought that was funny, huh?
Nope,
another
cheers.
Yeah, that's great. Someone had tweeted that out or shared it somewhere. Oh, that was funny. Cheers, Steve. That's great.
And again.
Jesus.
Oh, Steve, that
my
makes me
God.
better now that I know it was you, Steve. Huh?
Oh, you're learning really
Tigran,
quick,
welcome,
mediocre,
welcome.
aren't you? This is gonna be a.
Jesus.
Oh, geez, Tigran, thank you so much. Thank you. Tigran
Becomes hard
saying that
and
a minor
fast,
technical
those
issue
cheers.
is the mic might be too close to your mouth when you laugh. It blows air. Thank you, Tigran. Thank you. I'm so thank you for that because I don't know this stuff and I'm new to live streaming. Thank you, Tigran. I apologize, folks. I'll back it away a little bit. My bad. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that, Tigran. Just saying when I was mic's too close, it's kind of messing with the sound. My apologies. Oh, is there a new one posted? I didn't see it. TM. There you go. Yeah. So TM pointing that out. So nothing changed in the fundamentals, right? Pointing out that same thing. But that's the thing. it can still weigh on folks mentally and psychologically. That's why I say, like, they used to, like, I'm happy to see, cheers everybody, come. It's important to come like on days like today.
Is that another
because,
cheers?
like you said, it's human nature to be like, it's like, it's, you said all else equal, you don't like to see a stock you might be really dialed into to be pulling back. You know what I mean? Like I say, all else equal, you like to see it go up, of course. But even when the fundamentals don't change, it's like, oh damn, you know what I mean? So, that's what I mean. Like, it's good to, like, you chat about it, and has the story really changed? What are people seeing in their analysis? That's why it's important to track too, because if you understand how people have performed analysis historically, and the types of things that they're looking at and stuff, then you kind of know whether or not how heavily to weight their opinion on something, right? Especially if their style might align with yours. But you would only know that if you've been tracking their analysis for a while, or tracking their historical picks and stuff. That's
Anya asked what causes theta. I think, Anya, I'm not 100% positive, but I'm 90% positive it has to do with the Black-Scholes formula.
Yeah. So
there's 5 different variables in that, and one of them is the time to expiration.
When you when you're looking at an option, you have the intrinsic and extrinsic value. The intrinsic value is, like, if you're in the money, intrinsically your shares are worth this. Extrinsic value is the possibility could go up even further. And so as you get closer to expiry, there's less chance that there's going to be more value that you can squeeze out of this option. So the price needs to be appropriately adjusted, and that's where theta comes in. So as you get closer and closer to expiry, that extrinsic value starts getting eroded away out of the option, and that's where theta comes in.
Let me see if I can put this formula up. This is going to make your head spin.
Well, that's because it's calculus.
I know. But this is the formula that that calculates what an option gets priced
in
at.
The Wikipedia article even goes into the different parts of the Black-Scholes model that calculate out the different Greeks. Which
and
is really
I think it's,
if you're that.
I think it has to do with this square root of t in the denominator is probably what causes. That's probably what causes the exponential decay. That is the time to maturity.
All above my pay grade, you guys. I just
you just need to know generally that it decays like that. You don't
We're
need
nerds. You don't really. You just need to understand that theta is going to reduce the extrinsic value or option over time.
Okay. It's based on Black-Scholes, and just theta for me, quite simply, is just time.
If you want to see a great case that even smart people can get their, lose their shirt in the stock market, a book that I'd recommend is When Genius Failed. It's a book about, I can't remember which person of the Black-Scholes. I want to say it's Scholes, but he started a hedge fund, which basically what they did is they leveraged up these esoteric kind of plays. I think it was mostly in the bond market, and it was basically a classic case of picking up pennies in front of a steamroller. And the steamroller came in the fact of the Asian financial crisis, which led to Russia defaulting, which led to their hedge fund getting blown up. It's a really great book. It's really interesting, and it really is a great lesson in managing your portfolio and your risk appropriately, and that even the smartest people in the world, the people who invented the Black-Scholes model, can fuck it up.
Anya, when you get a minute, go find my playlist on my YouTube channel and pull up the options education playlist. And I think one of the first 2 videos walks you through my explanation of theta with that chart, and I explain how the time decay works. So that would be where I'd
it's all Greek to me.
Genothe Saltome.
You can have your conviction. You can have conviction in your analysis of their opinions. You know what I mean? Because who was it? Was it Hagstrom who said something to the effect of, the world is littered with information, the scarce resource is understanding. I think he said that in one of his Buffett books, right? Like, there are hot takes all over the place, all over social media, all over the place. And so your job, I mean, that first of all, if investing in individual stocks is even suitable for you, it might not be, right?
Jennifer.
And you're trying to perform your own personal due diligence. Boy, you gotta perform your own research to understand which takes you should pay heed to. Do you know what I mean? Because just because there's a take out there doesn't mean that you should pay too much attention to it. You know what I mean? So at the end of the, so it's important, because if you're tracking this stuff, then when it starts to work against you, or you're like, I know fundamentally nothing changed, but it's really weighing on me. At least you know where to look for some some analysis, some legitimate analysis. You know what I mean? Otherwise, there'll be this again. Hot takes abound. Hot takes abound increasingly with each passing year. There's just more and more out there. Thanks for sharing, TM. What was the total volume at the end there? Like the last couple, whenever that happened, the final sell-off. What was that final sell-off? This was on really low volume, as I recall. That last half hour, but I forget. I took a quick peek. It was at like just a couple 100,000 shares. I mean, that's nothing in this grand scheme of how much volume we've seen historically. And so that's another thing. If this was on heavy volume,
it would have been point that he brings up that when you have low liquidity, any sort of volume can really move the price in whatever direction that goes. When you have lower liquidity,
that's what was happening in pre-market today, for example.
Like people forget that pre-market and after hours, there's a reason why most institutions don't participate in. There's low liquidity, you get bad price discovery.
That's what happened. When I woke up this morning and saw it was already at $40, I know that in pre-market it's low volume, low liquidity. I was like, chances are more than not, when the full liquidity, the full market comes to bear, when the bell rings, it's likely to get dropped because now you have normal price discovery, normal volume, and you're going to have profit taking. Sometimes you get massive buying into it, but the majority of the time you just get this drop.
But Tony, I want to hammer this point home that Keith put his tweet out at 8 p.m. when the market was open for Robinhood the night before.
I think he was hoping to drive the price up on low liquidity and that it would keep running. I think that's what he was hoping.
Absolutely. I think
that's what he was hoping. It just didn't work out. Not today, but tomorrow morning's another morning. It could run up in the morning. It could. Absolutely.
I'm paying attention to. And so these little things,
especially now that people know he's still in.
It doesn't mean it's meaningless. I'm not saying that, but I would have been paying much more attention to it. So anyway, thanks for bringing up that volume, Polygon.
Yeah, there's no halts too. That helps.
Hugo, welcome back. Hugo, welcome back.
I know I was away, but I did
some people
hear
talk
the
about the
conversation. I would say that that's a possibility. After hours, GameStop was up 8%, and I was just looking at the bonds. The interest rates are moving slightly back up, so maybe you won't have the situation tomorrow like we had today, where interest rates collapsing, people running risk off to treasuries, and maybe there's a better chance that
it got a nice push up to $30.34 by the end of trading today. So I'm hopeful that we get an extended run in the morning, but we'll see. I'd certainly like it.
Most folks, and like we talked about, GameStop is a higher risk value stock. Those will sell off too. I also thought too, and we have to see in time. Maybe some people disagree with my take that GameStop's holding up okay. This is my analysis, but like I was talking about how maybe GameStop might hold up okay because of this console catalyst. You know what I mean? We need a little bit more data. We got to see, like, if the market continues to sell. Like today was down. What was the IWM down like 3.5%? Like that's a big move. Oh, it was only down 2.7. Look at that. Oh, so IWM held up better than the rest of the market today. Is that right? Oh. Anyway, that's a big down day for like the market, and GameStop was only down less than 7%. You know what I mean? For a high risk stock, as some perceive it, like it's not that crazy for those stocks to go down 10, 15, 20%. Again, if I pull up, we'll pull up the Roaring Kitty portfolio. But what was I just thinking about that?
I'm really interested to see.
Just this market
has a discussion about how I know we're mostly talking about GameStop. It'd be interesting to see if he has any enlightening things about the rest of his portfolio.
I'm just shocked. His title of his video is, you can see it at the top of the screen, GME Shorts Rise to 145%. That's his title for this video. We're 40 minutes in. He hasn't mentioned shorts one time.
Yes, he did.
Well, he mentioned it once, and he said it was I don't want to call it a cursory factor, but it was not.
He said it was a sideshow.
Yeah,
right.
A sideshow. That's what he said. Yes.
This is what is just fucking amazing to me, to how we talk about meme stocks today in general, in all of them, compared to how this gentleman talked about it back then. Like apparently at this point in October of 2020, he still didn't fucking care.
It was
No.
an interesting side note, but it was not the primary thesis.
Now, in part, 5 and 6, when we keep going here in a couple days, GME is going to be up in the $20, $30, $40, $60. I'm going to be interested to see if his demeanor and talking about the shorts changes. But right now, at this point, it's just like It's fascinating to me. It's fascinating.
Respond if,
Yeah,
if
it's
the
got
market
my
continues
attention, Tony, for sure, no doubt.
Oh, what's futures doing, right? If the market continues selling off, how would a stock like GameStop with like a it's kind of flat. With the catalyst upcoming, right? And people talking about consoles, I'm very curious to see how it holds up, right? I'm very curious. Just curious. That's all. Okay. Daily, welcome back. Cheers, Daily.
Cheers. Woo!
Yes, Daily.
Oh, I took a big gulp there. That was a bad decision.
I gotta get a refill. I'm gonna hit play and go grab another one.
Noticing the same stuff, lower volume.
You better not say cheers while you're out.
You
You have a commitment when you get back.
I know.
Yeah, we're skipping that.
I pulled back to that 50 range right there. Curious to see what it does tomorrow.
You ain't here to
Daily
hear
picking up on
it.
that.
We ain't doing it.
Excuse me. Ready for the next PR, right? Yeah. If
Shoot,
it's
I
not
might
so
get
much
through
PR,
my
right?
six pack if he keeps going like he's going.
I think that's why we've been like, all right, we're going to get PR, like, myself included, like, oh, we're going to get something here. But the big question is, are we going to get something like some meaningful news?
I would have been like, I can't make it into work. I'm dead.
Then it could just be we're waiting for quarterly earnings, which is early December, right? But we'll keep an eye on this. Ready for the next PR? Because like I keep on saying, like if we do get PR, right, it seems like it would be interpreted bullshit. You never know, but that's my best guess. So I'm with you, Daily. We'll keep an eye out for that stuff. Oh, right, a harsh wave, yep, of another COVID wave. I saw some European countries closing up some stuff too. Definitely something to keep an eye on too. How it's going to impact GameStop. Some folks talking about how GameStop is a little bit more prepared this time around, right? Especially if they have delivery that they're doing, if they keep stores open. Some people, because they got the PC stuff. I think generally I think we as an economy might be better prepared this time around, but you never know for this stuff. These are legitimate risks, so I appreciate people tossing them out. You never know.
I still owe y'all 2 sips in a second.
Okay, Saucy seeing the same stuff. Yep. COVID sensitive stuff again. Okay.
I like he is always cognizant of the risk. Like he said that this new wave of
Amateur
COVID
just said
is
what
a
I was aiming
legitimate
at. Their curbside
risk
e-commerce
that
is
we
ready
need
for
to
it, right?
keep
With
an
the
eye
new
on.
app and stuff.
Yep.
I just say they're better prepared for it. Doesn't mean we overlook it or ignore it or anything like that. I just say they're better prepared for it
Right
this time
there.
around. I agree with you, Amateur.
All right.
Oh yeah, what was it? Oh, check out that. Oh, we were just below. So we were just saying. I don't know if Tom's here, but that. Damn. Okay.
How long are the streams, Tony?
Oh, it's here. It's got to be here.
This
not
one's 4.5 hours. We're not going to go through the whole thing. I'm trying to find him talking about different stuff. He's spending a lot of time on charts today.
Good to see that. Oh, that's funny, dude. Price such that it will. And when I see the really bearish like price targets and stuff, what it's pricing in is that it's ramping up like a good chunk of these are going to be digital within 12 months. And I think that's quite a bit unlikely, especially because a lot of this tends to skew physical in those first 12 months. And again, then there's additional reasons why it could persist for even a couple of years. But that's number one. Number two is, John, and this ties into the Sony as well, is that there's other elements to both these besides just these physical discs, right? I keep on talking about the attachment rate of GameStop. How they even say, oh, do I have it pulled up? They even say they're one of the best in the business, right? There's this first year of the console cycle, they'll attach some other higher gross margin products to it, and this is important because it's all going to come down to what those free cash flows are going to be 12 to 18 months relative to what the current market cap is. And so they'll be able to sell these other stuff too.
That's one of the big factors
discs per se,
that I think we agreed on the last stream that they needed to be a little bit better on right now with the whole attachment rate. So you're not just selling the console, it's getting people back in so you can be like, hey, be a member. Hey,
they push that. They push that very hard. Trust me.
Okay.
If you go on the GameStop Reddit forum and you see employees complaining of how their managers are pushing them to sell the warranty and the memberships and all of that, like I feel bad doing this, but I think management is very on top of that, like making sure that people are pushing incremental sale items to the ticket.
But I understand there's also the trade-in opportunity down the line. I get this, and I would just say that these other digital streams, and this is what I keep on thinking the market is missing. still, here we are. What is it? It's going on November, and
We have
think
it.
that the
We have them
optionality here,
sped up a
John,
little
that
bit,
GameStop can
Mike.
participate in this new digital ecosystem. I think people are looking back and now see how it's starting to.
He's on
starting to-
20%,
not just John, right?
20%
John,
speed up.
realistic bull, as he said. John, I appreciate you bringing up this stuff, right? Kind of
So,
taking that, like, well, let's
we're
talk
not going
about
through
these
the
bear
full
side things.
4
It's
hours,
great.
but we're going to try and get as
it
much as
hasn't
we
been
can,
really
and that's
part
the
of
way to do it.
Mike says, "Does GameStop close Friday under 20?" I don't think so, Mike.
Neither do I.
No.
What do you think there, Corax?
It's really hard to say, but it didn't close below 20, did it last week?
Nope.
No.
So yeah, I wouldn't think it would, but I think it may get close.
Yeah, it could get back down towards 20. I wouldn't be surprised if that happened, but I don't.
It
I could
really,
see
to me, it
21.
depends on what this guy does, what Roaring Kitty does, how if he keeps the troops motivated.
What I think is much more important is not necessarily the end of this week, but next week is going to be FOMC. How's that going to
and
play
their
into this?
earnings and the earnings on the 11th.
And those are going to be two big whammies that are going to really decide where this price goes.
But the earnings are already out, so is it really going to be a whammy or not? You know,
That's
people
fair.
already know the numbers, so I think it's in Keith Gill's hands what happens. I
Keith Gill
think
and
I
Jerome
think it's
Powell.
interesting that he didn't sell off his position today.
yeah, I mean this
He
if he
posted it. Like
play,
that's,
this could be interesting for a few weeks. I can't guarantee that, but
yeah.
I wouldn't count GameStop out.
Mhm.
Conversation for a couple of weeks where people are kind of realizing, hey,
I mean, that's why I've been kind of just happy watching.
That's why I'm long right now.
Stuff, whatever. We're talking about physical discs again, and it's important to appreciate that GameStop does have there's a potential turnaround here where GameStop can participate in this digital business. And now you might say no chance. That's fine, but then you have to say that there's no way GameStop can participate in this this new digital ecosystem. They don't have it at enough value for
Kevin
the
W. Cheers.
that the vendors give a shit about GameStop. You know what I mean? The Microsoft partnership obviously hurts that angle a bit. And of course, if there's future partnerships down the line with a Sony, with a Nintendo, with the gaming publishers, with even on an advertiser, I keep on listening to the same stuff. I get this. But this is the thing. This is the question, is that you can have physical discs declining over time, but if GameStop can recoup those. So just to bring back up, I mean, just to use the language, I know.
DZ says NFT dividend is his expectation for June 11th. I know a lot of people are talking about that. That'd be interesting to see for sure.
Software sales, Stephanie Wissink can see it. I can see it. There's some other bulls who can see it. I think maybe the Bears, I don't think that it's that they can't see it. I think that it's just that they heavily heavily doubt it. And who am I to disagree? Where everyone's going to have their own unique probabilities based on their own analysis that they do.
Boom.
That's fine. I just assign a much higher
People have
probability to it.
differing opinions. Who
I
could
love
have
that
guessed?
I love that he used the word probabilities too, because that's the same way that I talk about plays. Like even when I'm looking at AMC, I gotta, what's the positive things I like about it? What's the things that I worry about? And what are the probabilities I assign to each one? And then I can decide then what's my comfort level for a price to buy in. Same
Tony,
with GameStop.
What's the probability AMC files bankruptcy before January?
I would say 0%.
It's inconceivable, Tony.
But I mean, if we get into 2025, 2026, if box office doesn't improve and they're still losing and they run out of all their shares, they fully dilute. I don't know. I don't want to think that far ahead. I'm assigning high probability to better box office next year, mediocre.
Me too.
But I'm not even saying that it's like 90%. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I clearly assign a much higher probability to it than some of the bear takes. I think that's part of. I keep on trying to come down to the disconnect, and I think that's it. I really place a lot of value on a lot of the optionality that the management team talks about here. But this is why maybe we'll be able to go through that conference, right? Like in the backdrop here, gaming and so forth, and GameStop has the scale. They have the members. I think this is what Ryan Cohen sees in it too. They have the brand, they have the loyalty, and when you have that type of stuff, is hard to get. It's hard to get. Talk about replacement costs when you're trying to do valuation analysis. Like GameStop is set up for at least a potential transforming their business so that they can participate in what this new gaming area looks like in a whole bunch of ways. I don't know what it looks like. I'm not saying it's definitely going to happen, but that's the thing. So that's it. So I can see. Anyway, I'll keep reading, but I was noticing people talk about that a bit. So let me keep going. Cheers, John. The split is worse.
Cheers, John. Hey, Mike, did you buy back into GameStop? Cheers, gentlemen.
I was away from the computer. That one doesn't count.
Drink up, Corex.
Oh, you were over here skimming, skipping. I don't want to hear it.
Ridiculous. Oh, is it worse? What split? Oh, for the Sony split? I'd be curious what it's going to be come the new. I mean, what I'm going to be curious about is what this split is come Q4, Q1, Q2, Q3. I keep saying that's what's going to that would break my thesis if I see if it were like 80% or 90% digital or something. Not that John's saying that, but I'd be like, whoa, that's quite a bit higher than I was expecting in the early quarters of the cycle. Do you know what I mean?
He's always cognizant that his thesis on how things operate could radically change, and it would radically change how he thinks about the company.
Correct. Can you pull up Sony's latest earnings while we're watching and see if you can find that same table? I'm curious what percentages we're at now.
I'll see if I can.
On digital versus
game and network services. Okay.
Even for Q, well, that's Q2, but it's going to be that next quarter that I'll be curious about. Right. This is why I keep on saying squeeze the sideshow. Right. That's the thing. If
squeeze.
I just scrolled up and now I'm back to. I can already tell I missed some. Okay. Oh, that's crazy how it does that. That's so weird to me. Jordan saying it seems like it's tied to the election. Okay.
This is, I mean, when I hear him speak so, what's the word? Honestly about, his value thesis on this, the fact that he ever got hauled into Congress for manipulating the stock is just really irritating to me.
Yeah, no shit.
This dude spent months telling you why this was a value play and saying he wasn't in it for a squeeze. And the fact that he got hauled into Congress for manipulating the stock is just really, the more I hear him talk, the more that shit pisses me off.
What was the title on that chart he was looking at? See if I can look it up by that.
It was Game and Network Services segment. Supplemental info.
That.
There we are, 2024.
What is he looking at?
Talking squeeze potential, right? This is why I keep on saying squeeze the sideshow, right? That's the thing. If for some folks, and again, if you're new to the channel, I think
sideshow, Tony.
I know, I heard it
on the YouTube channel just to see my.
We're gonna have to add in next time a shot at tequila every time he says squeeze is a sideshow.
No,
not this time. Not this time.
Style and everything, right? Because I talked in that video about like day traders, but there's folks getting involved for the squeeze. That's a sideshow for me, right? I have a thesis grounded in fundamentals, as many folks here do. And
we'd already be fucked up.
To bet on, to forecast.
That's like 3 shots already.
If it happens, like I have no clue. I have no idea. If it's even going to happen, if it does, what the upside? Like I have no idea. That's the type of analysis. Well, how can you even have high conviction on that type of stuff? And so I almost guarantee part
Tony,
of the
I think they got him wrong.
We just talked about all the reasons.
What do you mean?
I think the ape community got him wrong.
I don't
his stuff.
I don't know, because I wasn't following him every day. Like maybe his approach and his sentiment changed.
Yeah, that's possible. We're not there yet.
That's why we're doing this. Like we're going to relive it, because I didn't follow him every day. Most people, he only had 100 people watching his live streams here. No one really. I don't think anybody really watched this shit back then. They just know that it started running in December into January,
and they know he got hauled into Congress.
Yeah, I bet you.
Based on what I see here,
I bet you 80% of people holding GameStop right now never watched his original value approach to investing or heard him say any of this stuff. And that's probably why they're so mad that I'm covering it right now. But I think it's important, just for a foundational understanding of how we got from there to here, and to compare and contrast how his whole thesis changed, if it did, as we go through it. And
put up Holt's comment, Tony. I love it. It's great.
Which one?
The one about super chatting.
Mike. He said, I would super
that's
chat y'all,
funny.
but I only invest in things that have value. Yeah, we love you too, Mike.
That's why some of these stocks are selling off. But I would think that some of the folks, again, just like you saw after earnings, this these 2 days,
Manuel, what's
right
going
there,
on?
people sold off because they didn't get the squeeze, or they didn't get that big news. And then you see some now, people who were betting on it, like maybe last week, thinking, this is gonna squeeze, it's gonna go crazy, and then you don't get it, then they sell out. And but that's just a tough way to play the market. You know what I mean? Like that's really tough analysis. But anyway, my point just being, some of those folks I suspect that they were selling out because if they don't get what they want, they get out. And I don't blame them. That's their style. So you should expect that. Just like technical.
Not anymore. They don't. Keith, they never get out. Apes don't leave, Keith. Don't you know the new phrase?
A bullish backdrop on the technicals can serve as a bit of a tailwind.
I'm not giving instructions. I'm just like commenting on what I read on social media. Mediocre.
Yeah, that's right.
Can serve as a headwind because those people sell out. But a big potential technical sell-off isn't happening just yet. I don't see it. Even though I see how big this red thing is, but not like I would argue. See, this is the thing. Some people see this big like red candle, right? They go, "Oh, this is a huge sell-off. Oh, wow!" But let me tell you something. Maybe it shouldn't have been up last week. You know what? That's why I keep on saying all else equal. It's nice that it's going up, but there wasn't even any material news last week. It was kind of just the market digesting stuff, maybe past news, and maybe it wasn't ready for it to go.
Mr. Cheese says, "Is this new?" This is not new. No, we're kind of doing it might end up being a 10-part series, kind of going back to his month by month from when he first started covering GameStop, because I really wanted to compare how he approached analyzing this play to how people analyze GameStop and or all meme stocks today, and what things he was focusing on versus what people focus on today. Which today, what do they focus on? OBV, billions of synthetics, short volume, off exchange traded quantity of shares. Like, I haven't heard him talk about any of that stuff, and I bet we never do.
Yeah.
I bet we never do. And so the direction I see this series going when we're done with Keith is then digging into, so where did all of that start?
I'll tell you what, Tony. Just I've never watched Roaring Kitty stuff ever, to be honest, until we're watching this. To be honest with you. But I feel way more comfortable in the way that I view things now after watching his stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he talks just like you and I do every day, mediocre.
No.
And I'm shocked and I'm surprised and I'm happy all at the same time.
Yep.
No, this stuff is a process, right? Upward moves are a process. If people are betting on squeezes for a stock to go up every day, right? Like, come on, the market doesn't typically do that. Stocks don't typically do that. I mean, it can happen where a stock will go up boom, boom, boom every single day, right? But that's highly unlikely.
That document that he did. All I'm finding is like promotional, like PR material and
all right.
shit.
I'll look it up in the morning.
The market's just digesting the news on average. That's why on average you want
to. Because I can see the URL.
In that 12.
It's a little fuzzy right here, but
I'll
be able to pull it up.
I'd like to see that. That means the market's kind of accepting this new level, because I keep on saying if the market thought that Microsoft news was bullshit and they thought this turnaround,
Eduardo says he does start.
It should. Well, first of all, I think it already
later.
probably
Yeah, he put it in the title of this video.
But
So
right now we have
I thought he'd be talking about it more in this.
Staying
in
above
this one.
$11 here, right? And it started 4 weeks back. We're getting into like a longer time here. Where another week,
but I think he'll probably get more excited and talking about shorts when it's at $60.
It just takes time.
We got them, boys. We got them by
someone like me. That's why
by the balls.
11, 16, because that's how I. It's tough analysis. Otherwise, I feel like you'll drive yourself crazy. Okay, so Steve's calling it the Chernobyl squeeze. All right, I'll market it, Steve. I'll market it.
The Chernobyl squeeze.
Dusty saying, yeah, the timing is nice with the console release comes right after the election. Hey, that could be true. That could be true. And the fatigue that came with it. Maybe. I could see that. Well, predicting squeezes. I don't know about this. I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I don't know, Tony.
Wait, what did he say?
True that. So
someone asked him about predicting squeezes. Says, I don't know about doing stuff like that.
Oh, God, that's funny, dude.
For us to pick the biggest catalyst a week after the craziest election in a very long time. So this
the more I hear this guy, the more I love him.
I wasn't so much thinking about the balancing of election risks or anything like that, but it's like a huge catalyst upcoming that a lot of people are going to be talking about. But so that was a part of my thesis.
He did good with our group.
That's what I mean. It's nice to have that as part of the backdrop here. Because
what's that?
I said he would 100% fit in with our group.
Oh, absolutely. He'd be planning his plays with us on the weekend.
Many other stocks, there's no imminent catalyst. And you might say, well, it's just the console's released and everyone knows it's coming. That's fair. But I just meant from a psychological standpoint that GameStop is going to have long-ass lines out their store. How many other retailers can say that? Very few of them. Some of them maybe, right? Because anyone who's tied to the gaming one. But other ones, probably not too many. So all else equal, that's nice to have. Jay Booth, welcome back. Welcome back, Jay. The Thursday. People talking Thursdays, huh? Maybe, no idea. Oh, yeah, what are futures doing now? Those are futures. A little bit green. This does seem like, it did seem like, I said that on Monday too, and then we had this big sell too. This seems like, is this the market? Oh, yeah. Is it, what is it? Were we down every day?
All right, let's see what other GameStop news he has
strong.
here.
I was like, it's starting to get my attention.
I don't want to hear about the
like,
SPX.
Why are you going to think of based on one single
Give me
Microsoft
for a minute.
and the optionality that they have before them? And I don't think it's really hard to change that. But it's really hard to change people's minds unless they see more of it. That's what I think, Jordan, with the shorts. I think that they're, as indicated by the side. I mean, they have more 70 million shares short and 65 million shares outstanding. I mean, come on, it's just they're clearly set in their ways, and that's what I mean. And then that we're trading below cash. Before consoles. That said, there's we all know this, right? We talked about this. There's other liabilities on the books. They need to get to Q4, right? We're just saying for a stock to trade below cash, it's not like it's all that common. Maybe a bit more common for value stocks, I'd say. But even still, I think this is an indication of that vastly different opinions on potential turnaround type stuff. And I think you're only going to see it.
He still can't believe that anybody would be shorting
this. That they're reinventing themselves and they're here to stick around. They're not going to let this. They're not going away because of some physical discannibalization, as someone was talking about. Like, I think they're here to reinvent themselves. But how can, just to play devil's advocate to the bulls and say if you're the shorts, like, why are you going to think of based on one single Microsoft partnership? Why would you close just based on that? Maybe they're expecting that. They say, well, they need more than that. And I think that there's a good chance that we're going to get more. But then they say, no, it's not a good chance that they get more. It's a good discussion to be had. And so maybe they want to see more announcements, or they want to see actual quarterly performance.
And what if
maybe
he had been doing his
Q4
stuff in like the time period we are, where it's a lot easier to have like these open discussions? Like, man, it would be great to have these discussions about the different back and forth and everything. Can you imagine Roaring Kitty doing like?
He'd be called a shill in a hedge fund plant, just like I am, or a short. How dare you talk about the fundamentals? You're not mentioning billions of synthetics. I want to sue you. Adam Aaron is paying you to say there's no synthetics, right?
Well, I don't think he'd get too concerned about that. What I think would be interesting is having him, you see all these social media personalities. He gets on, has a live stream, has one of them on, and they have a discussion about the fundamentals back and forth, why I'm long, why I'm short on different stocks. And I don't know. That'd be really interesting.
Well, I mean, the normal investor crowd would love to have him on, but the meme stock traders would not want this version of Keith Gill to come anywhere close to their stocks, just like they don't want me to come close to their stocks.
More in Q1 and Q2 than I am, and then the only way to change their mind is that
even though I'm long in those stocks many times,
yeah.
They just don't want to hear my analysis.
Price action, but it could be people coming around to the story much quicker than they do, and then the price starts rising. You get to 20, 25, 30. It seems like it'd be tougher to maintain such high conviction, but who knows?
Yeah, Love Stars. I think
Russ,
that's very
back,
bullish.
Russ,
very bullish that he didn't sell today.
People, okay.
Tony, what could he know that we don't know, though?
That's the great unknown. I mean,
how many times have I asked you this fucking question today? I don't know.
I have a lot of theories, but they're all very speculative and conspiratorial. So I'm just going to zip it.
We're just going to watch. We're just going to watch it transpire.
I'm going to stay long as I can and hope for the best, mediocre.
I got you. I feel you.
Let's see. Can't wait to see. Yeah, Jordan still thinks the buybacks. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, Jordan. people thinking that's going to settle down right around the election. If we have a clean election and we know who wins, and there's no. It could make sense if this is a big part.
I
of
don't
the
think
sell-off.
that
But then
he
you still
knows
got, like,
anything
COVID
different
risks and
about
stuff. I think
rates,
that's part of it,
Wired
too.
Ape. I
people
think
are
they're
trying to
staying
figure out,
flat.
digest some of
They're
this
not
stuff.
cutting.
But indeed, the election
this
part too. Maybe
go
it settles.
around.
People say maybe it settles down next week.
I mean, for him to
Maybe
put
settle down before then, right?
several $100 million online, you would think he knows something, or there is some
It's
plan.
great to see for
That's
like,
all I'm gonna
type
say.
stream. Like I was joking on Monday, like, oh, I'm like, oh, stock price is down. Maybe people.
You don't
maybe
just
people are
fucking
gonna
do
tune
that
in, right?
shit
Because,
randomly.
it's like maybe people are only caring because the stock price is going up. Like you see, this happens with investors. Never mind people watching a stream, where they go, oh, I'm only here, it's going up.
those were
If it goes up,
recent.
yeah, I'm out
Those
of here.
were
And then they move
old.
on. So I was curious to see what happens on the stream. And so
He just bought at
I'd like to see that,
$21.
It's still a good turnout here. You know what I mean? Like this is the real. This is the
That's
real.
what I'm saying.
education.
Talking
I agree.
about black swans maybe going the other
I
way
mean,
because
there's
he
a lot.
likes to talk
It's not
about,
the only
hey,
education. That'll
weighing
be
the
now,
risk
but I just
versus
mean,
the
like, talking
reward and
about
all
that
this stuff.
psychological
What's
impact that
the
stock
chance
price- stock price
GameStop
moves can
does
have on you.
another round of?
It's
I
real.
mean, they got those
that
warrants
stuff
on that
matters.
mixed shelf.
That's
They've got
behavioral
some
finance type stuff,
options
right? I mean,
still.
I get and I accept and I own it if I'm wrong, but I'm willing to take the gamble. I mean, this dude's putting millions of dollars on the line. I can put a little bit in there just to see, you know. I'm not trying to make $1 million on GameStop,
Right.
but if I can make 200, 400, 700%, even 50% in a week or 2 weeks, that's cool. That's fine. So, and if, you know, if it doesn't work out, I didn't wager what I'm not wagering on other stocks in any given week. It's not a big deal. And I know what my point of exiting the play is if it doesn't go my way.
It's in the books. It's not like people don't know about this, but it's another thing to actually experience it. That's why I keep on talking about that long-term experiencing these stuff over time. Okay.
That's an interesting thought.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I agree that it's selling off hard.
Because I would agree with Love Star
Yes,
Stars because all the cost basis, if you look at his screen cap, is pretty high considering where he entered.
That's what I'm saying. He bought his shares at $21. His calls are at 20. He's at high risk of getting, you know, $65 million wiped out on Theta. If he doesn't know something, does he think by sheer willpower that he can run it up to 80 again a second time in a row? Or does he know something? Is he working with somebody with even bigger money that is going to push this thing up? I don't fucking know, but I'm willing to play along for a few days and find out.
Mm-hmm.
But Tony,
Roaring
Kitty had nothing to do with it.
He had 100% to do with it. He's either has something to do with it, or like some of the people said, he's a cover for someone who is doing something. I don't know which, and I don't really care. I honestly don't care. Just price go up. That's all I care about. Price go up, and I will be selling.
In confirmation bias, we better not be. We better not be. That's why we get some folks stepping up as the bears, drinking beers, pretending, playing devil's advocate as bears. Cheers to those folks.
Cheers.
Hell yeah, I'll take that. Cheers.
Mediocre. It's probably the T+1 plus the cat system.
Oh my God. Okay, Tony.
Yeah. Polygon saying nothing's changed unless you're invested in the
that and Warren Buffett tweeted HODL today. If you didn't see that,
I didn't see that either.
The chart, very short-term chart type stuff, but most of my stuff.
Maybe Warren Buffett tweeted HODL because his stock was down 90%.
Maybe
It's better HODL Berkshire A.
Again, I don't know what the hell this all started. It's a sideshow.
We're getting off track,
It's the fundamentals, folks.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. There was a minute this morning when I saw Berkshire drop 99%. I was like, "Holy fuck! These are the guys
into the world."
These are the guys that have been shorting GameStop, and they just got. We blew them up. Look at this. They had to cover. They had to sell everything, but. I'm sure there's people right now. Yes, that's exactly what happened. But then they covered it up. They covered it up. What, mediocre? They covered it up.
that I'm focused on. And if you have a similar style too, that I expect that you might be focused on as well. But if we were talking about short squeeze stuff, as long as I think that the heavy short interest persists.
Sufyan says, I heard one YouTuber pumping GameStop to $1,000 per share. I don't watch any goofball channels, Sufyan. So I wouldn't know, but
I can make an educated guess.
I don't give price targets because I don't like being wrong.
And the bull thesis hasn't deteriorated. I think it remains intact. Maybe the timing of it, you know what I mean? Like when things are creeping up and everything's bulls, then maybe it could pop off any day on some news or something like that. But
the only price target I gave at the beginning of this year, the beginning of 2024, I said GameStop would see $10, and it did. That's the only price target I've given for GameStop. It hit the $10. That's it. And now we're in a new realm.
We're at, what is it, $12? Just because we're at 12 instead of 15, if you get some major like game-changing news or something like that, like it's almost, I don't want to say it's meaningless, but it's the difference between 12 and 15 is relatively small. That if it did pop off, it's like it's almost besides the point. But that's not to say anything's going to happen or anything like that. But that's just how I view this, right? Everything, you know what I mean? Like so 11 to 16. So we're at 15, but. Like if it goes from 15 to 11, that's a 27% drop, and that's what I'm saying. Like for some folks, they may see 25%, but they're like, running around, right? That's not my style. I'm numb to that stuff because I've been through it so many times, and the big difference here specifically with GameStop is that the backdrop is finally bullish.
JD said he sold after he stopped updating. I mean, he updated today. Did you see that, JD? He published his position at the end of the day today. He did not sell anything, if you believe what he posted.
And it's easier this time around.
He was talking about prior to before he came back.
Yeah, maybe so. Maybe so.
Justin and I were talking about it in March.
People are saying, how could he have accumulated all this money, mediocre? I don't know. Shorting it down from 200, maybe?
Well, he couldn't have done both because shorting against the box is illegal.
Huh? Shorting at what?
He couldn't have been both simultaneously long and shorting.
No, but I mean, he could have taken his gains in 2021 and then shorted it all the way down.
Yeah,
made a fuck ton, and then bought back in when it reached closer to a fundamental value. I mean, that would be the smart thing.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's not very transparent. I'm not picking on him, but he's just not.
What do you mean he's not? You mean like right now? Because he went away for 3 years?
Exactly.
Yeah, we have no idea. I mean, I don't know.
Me either.
You're like, what? It was like we're talking about support and stuff like this. But also, by the way, this was a yellow flag. Like this was like an alert. This was like an alert to me that like that when the stock was breaking below this, because this chart was kind of breaking down. Some other
he could have been selling options all along.
You know what I mean? But like this stuff was like painful. It's like, oh, son of a. And now it's like finally like we got some solid news, some solid fundamental news, and I'm like, dude, 25% drop, whatever. All right, yeah, that's cool as long as the news is still unfolding bullishly. You know what I mean? Like it's been, in my opinion, like now we've had the big headliner news where stocks move. Like GameStop hasn't moved up 44% ever since I've been involved this time around, right? Never. That was crazy. And we're right in this area. It's down from when it was up that day, right? But so small, I don't even care. Oh shit, where was I just going with that? I forget where.
Yeah, 50 to 200 million off of covered calls and puts doesn't seem.
Whatever.
Doesn't seem likely.
I'll come back to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I keep getting so close. Thank you for that heads up on that microphone. See, I don't know that stuff, so I appreciate people telling me. Jordan smashed all the buttons. Yeah.
That could have easily happened.
Okay,
you
so
think
Hugo
so?
says these days is time for buying.
Well,
Well,
yeah, 50%
I mean,
a year.
Hugo's just saying general education advice, right? That it's like days like pullbacks,
Well,
right?
it also
Not
depends on
GameStop,
what
just
strike
generally,
and
this is
whatever
why
he
these
did
days
with
happen,
it,
these
because if he
weeks happen in
got,
the market.
You just have to be really
The
good
earlier
and
you
right
appreciate
every
that this
week.
stuff happens, the better off you'll be. Because then
and
when
not
you're
get
buying into a
exercised
position
on
over time, like I say, it's
a rally.
generally speaking, it's a good idea to average into a position over time to maintain your sanity, to average out of a position over time. But always bear in mind, like, hey, how great would it be if you're averaged into a position? Then you can add on those big pullbacks on a big daily pullback or a weekly pullback, and that's where I found technical analysis to be helpful. And really, I mean, like, think of how like it has been a good idea to pull back on these pullback. Look at this, just to use GameStop. A quick case study. Here's the GameStop daily chart. If you pulled back when it pulled back to the 50 RSI, or bought when it pulled back on the 50 RSI, pulled back to 50, just to use it as an example. Boom. And then that was a good opportunity. And then it didn't quite get back down to that level, but that was a good buying opportunity. Boom. And now here we are again. That's not going to say who the hell. I don't know that anything's going to happen.
It's going to go boom. Let me just tell you,
down,
Keith.
and then it can be like, all right, maybe now.
Go
time.
very
It's
boom
not
in a
to say
couple
that's what's gonna
months.
happen here. I know. Hopefully everyone gets that, but I agree with you, Hugo. Well said.
You telling young Keith where we're going, Tony?
Oh, shit, I need to do that.
Get ready, Keith.
Whatever. Okay.
Rocket's about to go boom.
No news on that. No.
And not like a SpaceX
Okay.
rocket blowing up on the pad. I mean,
Okay, unless there's somehow 70 million short. Yeah. So I'm on the same page with Steve. So shorting continues. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing the I don't know. I think people. I want to focus too much on the shorts. Or like I said, that short interest. It's only been.
I don't want to focus too much on the
it's been
shorts.
marginal increase.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Whatever. Okay.
Tony, you're missing all the short comments tonight. What's up
no,
with
no,
that?
no,
I know.
No.
Well, I was doing something over here.
Okay.
I was trying to read the comments.
Okay, unless there's somehow 70 million short. Yeah. So I'm on the same page with Steve. So shorting continues. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not seeing the I don't know. I think people. I want to focus too much on the shorts. Or like I said, that short interest. It's only been. It's been marginal increases. You know what I mean? I think.
I wouldn't focus too much
like
on
I
the
said,
shorts.
I
What are you talking about, dude? It's
I like them on both.
145% of the float. What is that? What?
Back then, Tony
It's,
didn't matter.
because the way he's looking at it is
Almost had a three handle and
he's
ten
focused
speed.
on the fundamentals. He only sees it as a potential catalyst. That's why it's like
for
a,
the car. Yeah, cheers.
sidecar
Did we
to
did we
his-
get to 100? Cheers, everybody. Huh? That was a good.
There was
Oh,
two
Jesus.
cheers. It's just amazing to me. I mean, he has enough common sense to know that 145% short interest is not normal. How could you say I wouldn't focus too much on the shorts? I get excited when I see a play that has over 20%, over 25.
Yeah.
145? Come on.
They don't let them get too high no more. I noticed that.
Well, because people learn their lessons. Funny enough, when you get in a car wreck, you get a lot more cautious about driving a car.
Exactly, dude. How often do you see short interest? Like, it's tough to get 22% short interest on the stock. I don't
Yep.
ever see it really anymore.
I don't know what the peak was. Oh, if we were at the three handle, yeah, that would have been the most, I think. Craig, welcome back, Craig. Welcome back. Hey, everyone's talking about Thursdays. You never know. You never know with these Thursdays. Who knows? I think we did because it was it 2 or 3 days? You never know.
This was before he ever went to Congress, just so you
Well,
know.
I think what he
Simon
was
said,
saying
yeah,
is
maybe
it
that's
was
the thing, we don't
a
even know.
wise decision in hindsight to not get too hung up on the short interest, focus on that fundamental thesis. So it's like you were manipulating the stock. It's like I was just looking at the company.
Yeah,
as
but
a
I mean,
whole.
he had no idea it was going to squeeze at this
Right.
point, and certainly no idea he'd be in front of Congress.
Exactly.
And this is just another play, like all of his energy plays, but it was his favorite one because he's probably a gamer.
People, that's the thing. Today was really low volume. You know what I mean? This is low volume relative to
Yeah,
what we've been
we're
seeing.
gonna wrap up soon.
Someone was just talking about shorts covered and stuff. Like, I mean, they could be. I don't know enough about this, but it seems like really low volume. Monday was a bit more. That's telling to me. It's like if it were fluff, like partnership, and people weren't really buying into it, like that was bullshit. It should have sold off more aggressively and on higher volume. Like everyone would have been like, get the hell out of here. Boom, 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 boom.
Not
You see it
really
happen with,
interested
with
in
stocks that
being
keep it up
baptized in
on
the
bullshit.
Church of Ryan
And then they
Cohen.
justifiably
Sorry.
get sent right back down. And GameStop's, it's not happening. The longer we just stay in this 11 to 16 range, the bullish it is. I know everyone. I mean, all else equal, you like to be higher, right? We keep on saying that, but like, it's validating the move. As time passes and we stay in this range, the market is pricing in that this partnership. The market's saying, no, this is legit, and this is at least a new range of price points, right? And again, I was watching that volume and watching the price action because people were saying that they were like, yeah, there's nothing here with Microsoft. I'm like, dude, then this should get crushed. It should get sent right back down, and maybe it will yet. We're getting right back down to that low 11s I was talking about. And there's still this. Then there's the next. I mean, this is tenuous support, right? Marginal analysis, but then I'd be probably looking around that $10 range. Where are we at on the weekly though? No, see the weekly. We're right not. There's really not that much there on the.
This is a lot
You
of
just find what you're
covering
looking for.
charts in this video, way more than normal.
Yeah.
And he keeps on going back to the
Did he
Sony
predict
thing
Q2
too.
fiscal year 2020 and it was worse than he thought, or was? But they can't pull it off because it's like a sinking ship. That's possible. Anyway, if y'all have ideas out,
He loves this chart too.
Yeah. I mean, that's
Yep,
the big thing
I'm
that's
with you,
really
John. It's got to be
different about, GameStop them and GameStop now. They have a clear outlined plan and they're updating their shareholders on what they're doing about it. And I think the stock would do a lot better if they did that now. You give people something to talk about, they can get more excited rather
I mean,
than
they put a couple of bullet points in the 10Q, but they don't have a nice slide deck, an investor deck like this.
or an earnings call.
Right. I mean, I'm trying to be nice, correct?
I'm not.
they'll have that opportunity. And anyway, just one thing I'll toss out there.
It's what you're paying me for, right, Tony, to be a big meanie.
That's how Uber, but I
Oh, that's funny, dude.
Oh boy,
perfect.
here comes a whole nother round. Oh, did you know Corex is paid by tomorrow?
It'll be out tomorrow, Tony. Don't you worry.
Breaking news! Breaking news!
Look at Redbox.
Corex slips up after too many drinks.
No, so this is I wouldn't be in the train if I didn't. Uber saying, quite simply, management told us. Maybe I think I'm on the same page as John.
I feel like Eddie, the Eddie Murphy, like, go have some new shit happen to you. I've already heard this story. The comedy bit that I'm talking about.
No, I don't, but it sounds funny.
Yeah, when he's like, gentlemen, you ever get home from work and you're just like hanging out with your girl and she starts telling me, did I ever tell you about the one time where, yes, you told me about the one time. I've heard about the one time every day for the last 6 months. Go get kidnapped. Go on a vacation. Go do something. Have some new shit happen to you.
That's, I think, the problem with sometimes with the live stream culture we have on YouTube is like, I'm glad that the one I do is only once a week because I would struggle to find stuff to talk about if it was more than that.
My wife is asking me
this is a good comment.
last night. She's like, do you remember when you first started live streaming back in like July of 2021? Like, you told me I'm going to go live stream and nobody's watching me. I was like, yeah, I remember those. I remember those days. Like, what am I going to talk about all day on a live stream with 0 followers? I don't know, but let me just turn on the camera and see what happens.
Through some of this stuff.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
Big shot YouTuber.
Now we've got 63 of you watching. I don't know. I don't even look at the numbers, but thank you guys for hanging out with us and supporting the channel.
Mm-hmm.
Supporting the channel.
With all the hate that's out there, guys, I got to be honest. We do appreciate it because, we want to see people succeed. That's it, really.
We want to see you guys get good information and make money both and have some fun along the way. Ideally.
What's my new favorite motto, Tony? You play to win the game.
That's right.
Even Corex, the short fucking hedge fund prick.
Corex, the short hedge fund prick that's paid by Adam Aaron, apparently.
Paid by Adam Aaron and works for Dougie. Figure that one out.
I don't know how you apparently you work for Doug, you're paid by hedge funds, but you carry water for Adam Aaron. Like,
and but I don't like, but I live in a tiny house in Kansas. All right, cool story, bro.
And you want to go to the Church of Ryan Cohen.
Unbelievable. The fucking lies and conspiracies that get in people's heads.
Go through and.
But it adds a lot of amusement to our day,
historical
guys.
price action isn't an indication of future price action, right? We all know that. It's still something to bring up. It's
Hey, it's a new chart. What is this?
I know we looked at this the other day, but the short thesis this time is that
he's looking at shorts. Right, he's looking at shorts over time. All right, let's see what we got here.
There were some good quotes in here. I think right off the bat. Speaking of this whole digital front. If I was gonna quote a couple of them right here.
it's just amazing how, if you look at it, even though he's got
that
most of
digital
it
shit?
blocked, as it goes down, you
Okay.
see more shorts. That
So there will
sort
be a
of makes
physical app. Can you
sense.
see that? Can I zoom? Let me zoom.
But as it comes back up, you
Boom.
don't see
So
them
there will be a physical aspect
profit
of getting well
taking.
into
You
the
don't
future, and we
see
tend to have
them. It just
absolute
keeps
market.
going up. It's like,
Well, I mean, they're
as
driving.
someone who shorted, it's just like,
Time will tell.
They're here. Here on the right, they're driving the short interest up, this gold line, which is driving the price down. But then, like you're saying, Corex, at the very tail end, they're driving the short interest up even more, and the price is going up. That's when you should know you're probably fucked as a short.
yeah, I'd be covering there.
Yeah.
You had all this, like, look from there all the way down and starting to peak back up. Ah, sounds like a good time to take profits. See you guys later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not frozen. He's reading someone's comments. So.
Yeah, Jordan's saying all major investors remain there that we know of. Consoles, cash, PC diversification, better inventory management, Microsoft deal, new Switch, nowhere to travel due to COVID. Stories variable. There's others to it. Jordan just listed a couple, but I like the people who just put the arrow after, say yeah, right there. I like that. Supportive. I know, yeah. It's you know what I mean? Like, it's so funny how it's funny. It's funny. It's fascinating. And we're not gonna know for a bit more time to pass, but how confident
Jay,
both sides are. You know what I mean?
Hold on, let
Bears
me
are
deal with
confident,
this
bulls are
comment.
Don't bother with Jay. He
I
likes
just
to
want to let
goof
you
all
know,
night,
I don't
Matt, and
think
I just let him
anybody
go.
here, I don't think anybody here thinks that GameStop can't be a good investment. They
Yeah.
got $2 billion in cash. All they need is a new revenue source, and they can be successful. Nobody here thinks
Absolutely. I don't know why people think we're bearish on GameStop. They
don't
have no
understand
debt. They have no debt. They've
And-
got $2 billion in cash. They just need a
And-
plan. That's all. They
and
need a
even
plan,
one
and they
that-
need some profits.
Yeah, well, the plan is the big thing we haven't heard about. But even as someone who leans bearish, it's like, I'm not like I said, I can be short one day and long the other and flip flop and whatever. It depends on what the thesis is. And right now, I'm not going to fight this price action. That's really fucking stupid. But like, I just don't like Brian Cohn has given me nothing to be confident about the company. He's fucking mum.
Things changed for me a week ago when they raised an extra $1 billion, which was a brilliant move. But prior to that, you have a company with, burning cash, making minimal profits and not really communicating with investors for a year. So I'm going to be very stubborn and wait for the most risk-free entry. That's
And
what
the
I was
biggest
waiting
problem for me is even
that
if they
doesn't
did
mean
have
that I hate the company,
Yeah. And my biggest problem is even if they do have a turnaround and are a solid company that has solid revenues going forward at this price point, it still doesn't make sense. It
Right.
doesn't.
I mean, they'd need. I mean, the PE ratios. I don't even know what it is right now.
Like 1900. The last
No,
time
that was when it was at $17. Correct. It's
Okay.
probably. Let's see
Let
what
me
it
take
is.
a look.
Forward PE ratio 2,800. I mean, you cannot ignore that. Price to earnings. You got to have earnings to justify the price. No company can sustain a PE ratio of 2,800. It's just it will get
Tesla's high wasn't that high of a
it'll
PE.
get ground back down, but they have the opportunity right now to acquire somebody or do something to bring in profits to justify a price higher than what the analyst has it valued at. They can change the game, but still 2,800 PE ratio. I don't care if you have $2 billion on the balance sheet. Wall Street cares about profits and growth, and they're lacking both right now. So it's up to management to change the game, and they got the money to do it. And if this price keeps going up, if I was them, I'd raise another $1 billion. And the more money they can raise, the more doors open.
I like Ben's comment is good because like Warren Buffett a few years ago, they were just saying, he wished they would short his stock and chuckled. If you're running a fundamentally good company, sure, you're future buyers. You know what? If I'm running a good company, it's like you do whatever you want to. I'm not concerned. I'm going to go over here and just run my company. Like real companies just do not care about shorts. They don't. The only time you hear people, the CEOs talk about shorts is when they're these David Mishry, Shitco, LARP companies.
Yeah, those companies are. That's a smokescreen for their bad management.
Mm-hmm.
Confident. It's fascinating to me. Like I keep on saying how I'm confused and confounded and perplexed and blah blah blah. Pull up the thesaurus, you name the word. And is it just that I'm wrong?
And what's funny, Corex, is all these shitcos like MMTLP and Mullen and Cosm, and the list goes on, and the CEOs are screaming about shorts and hiring attorneys. It's all a smokescreen for their bad management and the bad convertible debt and all the stuff that they take on. But then these retail investors get tricked by it, and then they get mad that Adam Aaron won't talk about shorts. Adam is focusing on, fundamentally improving the company and paying down the debt, like what he should be doing, not raising billions of dollars through convertible debt and creating this death spiral financing that all these other penny stock shitcos are doing. So that's why Adam's not talking about naked shorts and hiring Wes Christian, because he doesn't need to do the smokescreen stuff. They're actually, they got a lot of work ahead of them, no doubt. And they're not anywhere out of the woods.
Yeah, especially I think he knows if he hired Wes Christian, the penny stock stank that would be attached to AMC would be toxic.
And people get really mad at him, but these same people who are convinced that they're right get tricked by all of the pumpers and the shitco CEOs who all of those companies, and Mullen's going to go bankrupt, MMTLP, MAT, they're all going to go bankrupt. And it's not because of naked shorts. They might be getting shorted, but it's mismanagement.
Correlation does not equal causation.
Jordan?
If you're a shitty company, you're going to get shorted because you're a shitty company.
Yep. Anya said, who can they acquire? Above my pay grade, Anya. I don't know who they're
look at this.
who they're looking at.
Otter, cheers, welcome. Look
May
at
not be that they're even acquiring anything. They may just be refreshing their stores and changing out their layout, getting ready for their future.
We got a cheers, gentlemen. I would like to see them acquire somebody, correct, because the industry forecast is for declining revenues. And if they just burn their cash on capital CapEx, reinvesting in the stores, I don't know, is that the best use of cash in a declining revenue scenario where you got to survive till 2026, till the next console refresh? I don't know that that's the best use of cash. Maybe a little bit of it, but do you want to burn $1 billion on that?
Oh, there we go.
Did you hear what I said?
No, it dropped me.
I was just saying, I don't know, in light of the fact that the forecast for the industry or for GameStop is declining revenues, I don't know that they want to waste that new money they brought in on CapEx to improve the stores, because what's the point?
And there's a possibility, because a lot of the companies, like I said, that I was trying to say before I was rudely disconnected by Restream, was that, I'm looking at a lot of M&A plays where the stock has moved below fundamental value. It's been highlighted as a possible buyout because, you got this high interest rate thing. And like what you said, some of these companies, they don't want to spend on CapEx when they can acquire something cheaply. And so there's a lot of opportunities out there for that sort of thing.
Canton 79 says, is Tesla shitty or Amazon? I don't consider any company that has profits a shitty company, but companies that are profitable can get overvalued, which is why I don't own Tesla and I'm waiting for it to pull back.
Tony Korax, I'm going to take off for tonight. I got a busy day tomorrow.
All right. Let's do 3 more minutes, and then I need to wrap it up too, because my wife's wanting me to...
I still have a bankruptcy filing to edit down and post. I mean, not filing, but video. So
before another gap, isn't this exciting at this point?
3 minutes.
I don't disagree with that.
I got a couple tips here to finish off. So.
Dip. Philadelphia, dip, Philadelphia. I see what you're getting at, Otter, and I don't even strongly disagree. It's like we'll have to see where it ends up. Right? Give it a
AMC
couple more
is
days, see what the
considered
price action does. But if we
shitty to
hold
the
this like around
shorts because
$60
it's
range,
not
I agree.
profitable. That's why.
It's just validating the move. I know what you mean.
That won't change until box office improves. There's only so much AMC can do to cut costs due to
Daniel says
the
VW
leases.
squeeze happened today, 12 years ago. Crazy. Oh, thanks, Daniel. I didn't realize that. That's kind of funny, huh? Dusty? Yeah, we weren't really thinking about those PC partnerships.
Oh, he switched to water. What a wuss.
Oh, I think
Gotta
someone
stay
might have said
hydrated.
NVIDIA one. Did they mention NVIDIA on a couple
Did
of
he?
days ago? I think so. PC components.
I didn't notice.
I'm going to finish
Turtle Beach.
this drink in the next 2 minutes, and then we're going to call
Right,
it.
that's right. So to Saucy's point, he's saying, I don't even know if GME needs a partnership, right? I agree. That's what I mean. I don't know enough to know that it even would be a net benefit. That's one of those in management I trust. Come on. Was it 924? Let's go. I partner with GameStop in the digital environment. Why does that make any sense? Why do it? Why are they incentivized to do that? That's what I kept asking.
Tubi Tubby says AMC should sell psychedelics. I hear a lot of people saying that.
The ICR conference transcript. I mean, there's many
Gummies.
said why, and so did shit. I keep on leaning into it.
Hey, you already got that candy line. Get some.
That would add a
gum.
whole new dimension to movies, man. I've tried a few of those gummies. I'm not big into
Hey, Joe,
that
what's
stuff,
up? What's
but
up, guys? Tell me you came in there. Yeah.
sometimes
Hang
when
in
we're
there,
watching
hang
a
in there, Joe,
movie,
hang in there. We've been
I
talking about it.
stopped
We've talked
taking them
about
because I couldn't
all stream so far.
function the next
Not-
day.
I don't
even,
think it's
but
as bad as some.
I
That's
felt
always
like-
been my problem.
I felt like I was hearing the sound from my TV in 3D. I was like, wow, this is trippy, man.
Check out these charts. I think it's hanging in there okay.
But since I don't do that stuff,
Oh, future
on a
stream,
regular
yeah.
basis, it would fuck me up
Oh,
till
getting up
lunchtime
there.
the next day. Even
Why
if I
you
took it
don't
at
take
8
the
o'clock.
whole gummy, chop it
Pretty
up
big
a little
sell-off, I
bit.
think.
I also made a mistake one time. Like the first time I took an edible, I like, oh, this is nothing. I'm not feeling it. And I went to take a hit as well. And then the gummy kicked in. I was like, oh no, I've made a critical error.
I feel your pain on that one, man. Holy shit. I've been there for that one.
Cheers, Jason. Cheers.
Cheers. All right, we got 3 cheers.
I'm empty. You better put it down.
Yep, same here.
All right, so I think we got a good feel for like 2.5 hours. Short interest is 145%. How did he talk about the shorts? At this point, we're in October. He still basically is calling it a sideshow. He's not really focusing on it. I'm not.
It is a.
I'm
at
not
best he's considered a catalyst.
I'm not editorializing or adding any opinion. I'm just observing, and I'm very curious as we progress through the next few parts, as the price starts bumping up and it starts really getting interesting in the next few parts that we have. Because I've looked at his titles as I'm trying to pick what videos to watch with you guys. I'm curious how his reactions start changing as the price goes to 20, 40, 60.
I was very surprised in his words, Tony, the way that he talked about the stock. I was, from somebody who never really watched his stuff, I was very surprised to see the way he talked about it.
Yeah.
So I'm truly interested in what he actually
Very
has to
even
say.
keel.
So I don't know when we'll do. This was what, part 4. We got part 5 next. If we can squeeze it in tomorrow or the next day, let me check with the gentleman in the morning and see what day everybody has free, and we'll schedule the next one. And gentlemen, thank you. Corex, you got any closing thoughts, and tell people how to find your channel, and then Mediocre, you go.
Yeah. Closing thoughts. Like, so far, this is kind of what I expected. Like, I haven't watched any of his live streams talking about GameStop, but from like how he does his analysis and everything, it seems like what I've seen is pretty consistent. He has a very even keel. He's excited, obviously, about his play, but he doesn't get too outside the realm. And he's very open to people who are in the opposition. He wants to hear it. He wants to hear how he could possibly be wrong. And it's something to keep in mind when you're doing your own investing. You got to be open to the possibility that you could be wrong. But if you want to catch me, Noisy Corax on YouTube, Sunny Corax over on Twitter.
Thank you for your time this evening. Mediocre, over to you.
Yeah, I found this series of videos that we've been doing very interesting, and I want to keep going because it's interesting that what he's talking about. But if you guys are interested in following me over on Twitter, it's Mediocre Trader 1, and my YouTube channel is Mediocre Trader. And thank you all for watching.
Thank you, folks. Anya, thank you for modding tonight. All of my subscribers and members of the channel, I appreciate you so much. And hopefully you guys got some value out of this, and we will let you know as soon as we have the next one ready to go. It'll probably just be a day or so. And the next live stream I have scheduled for sure will be June 5th, 1 p.m. Central, the AMC annual shareholders meeting. So hopefully we'll see you on that one.
Got Prince of Mount Stupid this Saturday, and then next week I will be covering the FOMC live.
All right. Color. Very good. Thank you, Corex. Thank you, Mediocre.
Thank
you. Let's go. Yeah. I'm like an addict, do I gotta have it. I ain't even playing, got a really bad habit. If it moves, gotta grab it, fuse like a magnet. Lose, won't have it till I'm doomed in a casket. I ain't playing, got a weird mind. If you work 8 hours, I'ma work 9. If the shit tastes sour, you should taste mine. I'ma stay in power for a long time. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back better than last. Yeah, it's a new me,